Now they can hear me. All right.
We're
Should
back?
be live. Yeah, we should be good. And yeah, sorry for that, everybody. Definitely the Lucy event. I don't know what that was, but we're back. I'm just gonna leave both things up. I'll just change the thumbnail to the other one later on so people can like get the gist of it. But yeah, the title Power Bottom Zoro is technically what we were gonna be talking about next anyways.
Yes.
Which
Yes.
if you guys missed it, we'll probably be talking about Josh's agenda later on, actually, because there's a few creative things that came from Josh's agenda that links up to a lot of things that I've talked about in the past. But something
It
that
does.
I
I'm gonna see a
personally,
video later.
yeah,
Why
no,
Mihawk's paint is hockey infused.
I mean, I made videos about paint and hockey. That's actually that's canon on my channel. That's an actual.
I mean,
thing.
I remember us having a conversation about that because of the events of Little Garden.
Yes.
And yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Some abilities that aren't granted from a devil fruit.
Yep. I mean, we don't have to like beat. I mean, the Little Garden, we don't have to beat around the bush, unless there's live action viewers here, which in that case, like, season 2 is coming up. If you don't want to be spoiled, sure. But there's some paint circle magic there that's kind of cracked. Miss Golden Week is technically like one of the. I forget like the full lore of it, but it's a very important like celebration, which is coming up. It's coming up in 2 weeks, I think, right? Golden Week is coming up, so we have another One Piece break. Yeah, so hey, maybe Oda hits us with some Golden Week lore there. That'd be kind of crazy. And then just real quick for people coming in, my camera's probably lagging. It's my computer, I guess, crippled itself on its way down down the stairs that Queen fell, and and so it's gonna recover. Just I guess pray. But anyways, Josh, mind roped a little bit, connected with the vision. But Megan gave me whiplash. That was probably what she said. I don't think anybody has ever said, like, in the history. Like, I think even Oda would be like, what did she say? Like, if Megan was in the One Piece live action writer's room and Oda heard what Megan had said to us.
I feel like a lot of the things we've said on our channel would absolutely blow Oda away.
I don't know in what way.
I don't know in what way, but just in general. That's all. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that. But yeah, dude. I mean, okay. So here, let me start. Let me paint a picture. Let me paint a picture, hockey infused picture for y'all.
Oh shit.
Okay. So when we were discussing in a chat for the Reverie, it was pick this or this, and I didn't necessarily think too hard on it, so I picked Zoro over Sanji. Obviously, I mean it's not leaps and bounds that I enjoy Zoro more, but it's just enough to put him over, I think.
Right.
So I was like, oh, I'm defending Zoro with my whole heart right now.
Right.
And that I had to do something because I'm not gonna Sanji slander here, because I think I already did that enough on the agenda Reverie. But I will say, I saw the vision. It rained over me in that moment, and I was like, this is perfect. Thank God Cole brought up bottoms. And I didn't think I would be saying that in my head. And I was like, okay, thank God, like, he brought up bottoms, because I'm about to do this shit right now. Because again, it was mentioned, like, he's a bottom, like, it's confirmed, like, it's canon, and even in the live action, it's canon. And look at him, like, this booty cheek picture with his sword. I'm like, okay, let's be real though. There's many different bottoms. And this is just true. This is just fact, okay? There's many different classifications of bottoms. So what would Zoro be? Clearly, power.
Power.
100% power. And that's a fucking compliment.
That's
you know,
power.
anyone can give it, but not everyone can take it, and that is true.
Whoa, that's fact.
That's fact. So
When you said that, I think all of us were just like shocked. Like there was like so many emotions had gone through, because like to paint the full picture, Hidden had the craziest. This was after Hidden did the Sanji slander thing, right? Which was just like he went Nickelodeon with it. I was like, bro, calm down. Let's calm down a little bit. Yo. And then Cole came with pictures, and I'm like, I didn't know we were coming in like a middle school PowerPoint level type of
right.
For real.
Yeah, and then like Josh does it for real, but bro came in with show and tell with the Mihawk sword, taking down his own studio with it.
Well, that was just around me. They brought evidence. They brought Manila folders and shit.
That's true.
I didn't know we were doing all that.
Zip drive.
Evidence, Exhibit A.
Yeah. And then Cole put up a picture of from the live actions, Luffy, Inaki on top of Zoro. This is like a scene where like Zoro got slashed by
Literally
Mihawk.
Literally a screenshot. This man wounded.
An emotional scene.
This man is
emotional
wounded,
moment.
and you're like, oh yeah,
canon.
Yeah.
What are you really trying to say about Luffy in that situation, huh? Zoro's unconscious, Cole.
He's awake. That's so crazy. He was awake. Which it's just hilarious because it was exactly. It was bringing like I'm gonna bring picture evidence, and there was a picture of Zoro, like booty cheeks clenched with the sword in the middle, and then I saw that picture and I didn't see a diss. I saw. That's fucking awesome that he could do that, bro.
I wish.
He's caked up, and his glutes are fucking on a fleek. Wow, what year are we in? Holy shit!
Another level.
But another level. Come on now. I saw that as an opportunity to praise my man Zoro for being cheeked up and ready for action, okay?
Yeah, he pulled up Exhibit A, and the A was for ass and agenda.
It was like because I've been with Cole in person, and we've debated, and I've seen him talk to a bunch of people. I don't think I've seen his own agenda be hijacked quicker and more efficiently than when you said power. He was like, no, she didn't just take everything that I built up and make it part of her agenda. That was crazy. I still like to come up with that on the spot was like, I can't do anything but clap for that, just like Zoro apparently does.
Exactly.
Yeah, dude.
Exactly. You got to clap with everything you got.
Hell yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Come on now.
So,
but that hidden,
bro, that's poetry.
Because it's funny because he had done something like very similar with slandering Zoro.
Yeah.
So it was just hilarious to have him on Zoro's team now and to slander Sanji. Yeah. And that shit took me out.
I need Hidden to do that for every Straw Hat.
Every character. No, it's just like every character in One Piece.
I think he will.
Has like a. Yeah, he will eventually.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I think someone already they requested it, so Hidden's definitely gonna complete that prophecy.
So good.
But yeah, the oh my god. The agenda reverie, if you guys don't know, that's what we were talking about. We talked about it in the first part, which got cut off. I'm trying my best. I know my camera's lagging. I can't do anything about it right now because I just want to get the stream up as fast as possible. And the technical difficulties suck, but at least I'm pretty sure the audio's fine, guys. So apologies for the video defect that's happening right now. I think volume 1, your video is fine, your audio is fine. It's just my video that's lagging behind. But with the agenda reverie, we were talking about a lot of things, and I'm just kind of curious which of the things that we discussed. I mean, obviously Chopper side, Chopper did come up a little bit, but of the discussions, we got put on teams and there's Zoro, Sanji stuff, but which one did you like feel most like, I guess like it mattered, like you guys actually like talk about it, like when you're on your chapter reactions or in the current chapters, that kind of thing? Like, is there anything you guys want to bring up or talk about or elaborate on that you didn't get enough time on that stream?
I guess, and I wasn't like super prepared to like make a solid argument about it, but of course with current chapters there's the dragon stuff, but then there's also the Admiral versus like pirate.
Yeah, the debate, the Yonkos versus the Admirals.
Yeah.
And I loved how Jay framed it, because he told us like pretty much like you're going to be on teams like you said, and you're going to defend, and then there's going to be a winner. But the way he like capped it, I thought was so funny. And like real. He was like, yeah, so these arguments happen and are going to continue to happen throughout One Piece and content history. So it's just like, just to show everyone, like they're always either gonna go one way or another way.
And if I remember correctly, Par, you were on Team Admiral, I believe.
I'm still on Team Admiral now. Like because the conversation was power scaling aside, not power scaling aside,
Yes.
but like more so like the whole picture, not just power, right? Like,
But power
Yes.
scaling aside, that's even more reason why you should go with Yonko over Admiral. Admiral.
Well, it's
yeah.
the specific Yonkos, I think, that they were defending.
I
That
see.
it's not the like title of Yonko. I think
Yeah.
it was like Big Mom, Kaido. Like you can't really defend them as much as you can defend the admirals, because like that's like their fucking job.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand that. I would take it more as the title
Yeah.
of like a pirate than actually defending like Kaido or Big Mom. Or...
I don't understand it, Par.
No,
I don't understand.
okay, you're getting upset. I can feel you getting upset.
I don't get it, dude. I don't get why you would say something
Oh
else.
my god.
Yeah, like when debates come up in general on the internet, it's like who's stronger, who beats who. It's like, yeah, obviously Shanks, obviously Kaido, obviously Big Mom eats people. Like I don't see like that being overturned. But when we look at like when like there's certain people in the community that like admirals, and then people are like, ew, how could you? Like obviously the Yonkos are stronger, and it's like, well, yeah, they're stronger, but like you can't tell me Kuzan and Kizaru had like one of the dopest introductions, and he's still not Kizaru, like in Saba Odi, coming on a cannonball, and like Oda loves these guys. That's why he made them his favorite actors and actresses, if you count the candidates, but actors in general, right? Like he really likes these characters. He put a lot of detail in their speech mannerisms and stuff like that, just like the Yonkos. But the thing is, like, they get a different portrayal, obviously, because the Yonko are pirate, and we've been following the Yonko stuff for a very long time, and the Yonkos are super cool. Obviously, if any group with Shanks in it, that's not fair, you know what I mean? Like if Shanks is in that group, it's not fair. And it's like, obviously we can say all we want about Shanks, but we like, if you're taxing the Yonko off of like chapter, Shanks is his mentor, he gave him the straw hats, it's like, all right, okay, cool, you can't really like, for me, if I'm looking at the whole picture, I'm not including that tax on Shanks for the Yonko side, right? I'm looking at like a lot of the whole picture, and it's not that I don't like the Yonko, but when Brago being the MVP of that gender reverie, I think nobody disputes
that argument for sure. Yeah,
he cooked super hard, and I don't think anybody could really fully disagree with what he's saying in terms of like one of the lines that stuck out to me, and to this day I'm like, I never thought about it like this, where it's like the Yonkos are all here fighting out, like, oh man, the Yonko territory, oh blah blah blah. Meanwhile, we just found out they're literally like one island apart from each other. The Wano, Kaido, Hachinosu's right there, Elbaf is right there. They're literally neighbors. They're not even, it's not even like separated out. And then Shanks, like when Brago said this, he said
That shit was so funny.
Shanks was looking for Blackbeard on Wano. I promise you he's on Hachinosu. And I'm like, yo, he's right. Like, why
No,
was
literally.
he looking for Blackbeard? He's right there. And
It's because he's stalling, bro. He's stalling.
and if you Josh, if you had said that to Brago just now, he'd cook you too. He'd cook everybody. Like Brago was on some Ultra Instinct Super
He was.
Saiyan God,
Bro.
like Gear 5.
Brago had a spatula in hand
He tapped
and
in.
was fucking opening the fucking barbecue and was ready to go.
Oh yeah, he was tapped in. He was locked in.
tapped in, apron on.
I felt something like he went into like a flow state, like a
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, literally.
Came in.
Yeah.
I don't even think it was him, honestly. I think it was something sticking through him.
He was unstoppable. And I know like when Jay told us the teams, I was like, I ain't carrying shit. I'm just gonna be the little bag boy. Like Brago is gonna be hard, putting me not on his back. He's gonna be dragging me up the mountain. And I could not know how much that would be true after, like, before the stream. But
Yeah, I forgot too, because when you mentioned teams, I remember looking at my team before the agenda referee started, and I was like, yo, this is a fire team. It was like me, Morge, and Randy. But during the initial arguments, Sai, who we love Sai, and we've been meaning to do something.
I know, Sai was so funny.
Sai was fucking,
Sai is always funny, but yeah, he
Yeah.
was bringing that, like, that energy. I feel like
No.
we
Sai met the brief. Sai knew, he knew what he was there to do, and he fucking did it, and he did it well.
yeah.
I love Sai, and again, we've been meaning to do something with him for a long time. But just playfully, he had mentioned during his argument that he wasn't very passionate about what he was saying because he had like done all of his research on like Reddit or whatever. So like,
and Kiora.
right.
Kiora.
So during like during Randy's passionate, heartfelt defense of Mihawk, I thought it would be a good idea to like punctuate that by proving that came from the heart and not a Reddit post. But the way I worded
The
it,
way you worded it was, and everyone was like, damn, like Josh is going in on his own team right now. Because like, yeah, the way you worded it was so funny because and then everyone like let it breathe for too long and you were
way
like,
too long.
no. I meant like,
Because my point was, Sai had just mentioned, like, I did, a lot of my research on Reddit, whatever. It was very funny. And
Yeah.
so I just wanted to like use that as a point for us. So I said, after Randy's speech, did you read that from a Reddit article or a Reddit post? And everybody was like, yo, what the fuck? Why would you? He's on your team. And I was like, no, that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that I know he did it. That's why we should get the W. Damn.
so even John Smith in the chat's like, LOL facts. The way Josh worded that Randy stuff, I was like, what the fuck?
It just
He
came-
probably should have clarified it.
I tried. I really tried.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I was like
God.
trying
Leave
to
it
look at
Josh.
what I was like looking at. I forget if I said something too to like stoke the flames, but I was just like, I'm just gonna let Josh cook with that one. Let's see.
I'm gonna just let him dig his own grave. Okay.
Yeah, that was.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I came in with the heat. Brago came in with the heat. Everyone was really funny that stream. That was incredible. But yeah, the Admiral, that I was so surprised because like I like the Yonko characters are cool, but I genuinely came out of the stream like, yo, the Yonko bias is crazy. I don't know how you could vote against Brago after that stream because everybody else, he literally set it up saying like, listen, all of them, they're gonna bring up power every single time they talk. Every single time a Yonko person brings up anything, they're gonna talk about how, oh, they did this power feat, they did this thing, and he trapped them every single time. He's like blah blah blah, and he kept on ad-libbing over them, and I was dying. But
yeah, that shit was crazy.
yeah, it was so good. But you guys also stayed for like I think you guys stayed longer than me. I had to tap out, I forget when, but part of the discussion went into dragon stuff, and I'm forgetting because it was kind of like the editor also told me that I was voted best responses mainly for my dragon stuff, and I just felt like I was fighting everybody on that point because like everybody had some kind of like negative thing about dragon, and I think Cole was like helping, but where were you guys with the dragon stuff? And like if you guys had different takes, feel free to share how you guys feel about Dragon right now in the story in general, wherever you guys...
You want
Yeah.
agenda, or do you want
everything,
feelings?
everything.
Okay. You want to go first, Megan?
Yeah, I because everyone was
Uh-oh.
making really good points to both sides. No, it's not bad. It was just like, I guess it's more of a joke than anything. I said like Dragon, I guess this is like a point taken away from Dragon and what his cause is against, yeah.
Mhm.
But I said that Dragon is like, I didn't specify, but I said Dragon's looking east because that's where he got his tattoo, and he's waiting for his laser removal of the tattoo before he makes any decisions or sees anyone, because he knows it was a mistake.
Yeah. He's not looking east because the East Blue is where Luffy's at. He's
No.
east because that's where the tattoo shop.
And he regrets it.
Yeah.
It's his biggest regret. That's the agenda.
Yeah, that's the agenda. That he's waiting to get that removed, and then he can actually do something within the story.
Yes.
With his son and everyone.
Because you pointed to the O'Hara flashback, and I don't think you had ever felt like Dragon was zaddy material
No.
until the O'Hara flashback, which was pre-face tattoo.
Which is kind of crazy because like that doesn't sound like me.
To say that you don't like someone with a face tattoo?
Yes.
Because I
usually do. I usually do. So that's why it was kind of shocking to me. I was like, oh, okay, this is different. Maybe because because I was like, maybe because he's younger, but that's even false as well when it goes to my taste. So I was just confused. But yeah, that was my agenda. That's pretty much the only thing I said about Dragon.
I mean, I think it's because like there is agenda, and I think that like the Dragon agenda is funny. But I think if you really talk about his purpose or like what he is going to do, I feel like everybody agrees that he is going to do something. And like Chestnut was saying during the stream, was that, she just felt like the story had gone on for a little bit too long to know this little about this character for her to feel like
his personality shine through.
Which I'm probably like not saying it perfectly, but something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing.
Which I totally agree with.
I get that. But even she agrees, like she said, like but I also know that he's gonna do something. Like I'm not, dumb, and I don't think that it's just going to be this character that Oda does nothing with. I don't think anybody thinks that he's going to just continue to do what he's been doing.
Yeah.
But there were some really solid points. I mean, that's why I think with Dragon, it's just
a matter of time.
It's just a matter of time
before people give him his flowers, I guess.
And in the meantime, we're going to keep making memes. We're going to keep making jokes. But everybody, I think, underneath all of that knows
and understands
that he's going to do something. I liked a lot. I think it was you, Par, that was saying something, or I forget who it was exactly, was saying something even about, I can't remember who it was, but about even Sabo and how he's, was it Recon? It was Recon who compared him to like a coach. Just like...
Yeah, that was a good comparison.
That was great. That was
Leave
great.
It to Recon.
I know, really, coach. But that he is sort of like, he has sort of fallen back a little bit.
Yeah.
And is commanding and is looking to people like Sabo to make certain moves like Ska, which is going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you, like, agenda aside, you think Ska's gonna happen?
I think 100%.
I mean, when we look about it like a story, like taking agenda away of like, oh, I dislike Sabo. Like, no, it goes deeper. Like the meaning is deeper than just like, oh, this is a cool matchup. Like, no, this is like, it's meaningful. Like, because I don't think I don't think Luffy is going to fight Akainu. I think he has bigger fish to fry at this point. When it comes to everything else that's happening within the story. And it's like his main goal is to find the One Piece and get to Laugh Tale. So unless Akainu is like right in front of him, I don't think that there's going to be a one-on-one fight. And with Sabo, I mean, it just makes sense within the story, like everyone was saying. Like, it's not just because I'm a Sabo, I do love Sabo, but it's not just because of that.
It's poetic. It's full circle. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's it to me it makes the most sense.
Yeah, and so just for clarifications, if you guys weren't in the agenda stream, which again, like half the agenda stream is we made like so many inside jokes that if you missed it, you're probably gonna miss a lot of inside jokes on everyone's separate streams going forward. And one of the biggest ones is ska. Like we literally, I can't. After we got into the group chat, I was just like ska, and then everyone's just like that's gonna be a call. Like everyone from that stream, we're just gonna like randomly end messages being ska. But it means Sabo kills a Kainu, as some people are saying in the chat. I think Roger's base was the one who was saying that, right? It was Roger.
Yeah,
it was Roger. I mean, pretty much everyone was on board.
Everyone was on board, but he was the one who was just like. SKA or like Sabo kills the Kainu, and then we're like ska. Like what?
Yeah, Roger had to explain it, and before that, this is like a super crazy tangent, but like the book series that I had just finished reading, like the Mistborn series, there is a group of people called ska in that series. So I was like, yo, are we talking about Mistborn right now? Like, let's go.
I was like, I promise you they're not. I promise you they're not. I promise you. I promise you.
Yeah, it's interesting because like the Sabo kills a Kainu thing. It's like, does a Kainu die? You know, I don't know. It's like all the kill agenda. Like, look at the Zoro kills Kaido, right? Like the reason why that agenda fails is because it's like Oda doesn't kill. Like, I don't care about this. The Zoro part, I don't care about the Kaido part. It's the killing part that's the least it's not, this isn't JJK, right? It's not like Chainsaw Man, it's not the other series. So
right, because I think the message a lot of the time in media like that is that, you know, the people like Sabo are supposed to be better than the people like Akainu. You know what I mean? And so I mean,
I again, it's like back to like the Yonko versus the Admirals. Like, I have a very strong feeling, and I could be completely wrong, but I have a strong feeling that with like the Gorosei, I see more team ups happening
against them
with the military, military and pirates. I think.
Okay, yeah. Me too.
You had Par for a second, and then you lost.
Yeah, I know. I was
no. I'm on that agenda too, where it's like the end of the story. Like when people talk about Kizaru defecting, possibly. Like I wasn't on board with him defecting in Egghead. Sai saw it more prominently than I did. But I was like, if we're talking about next arc, or we're talking about later on, if we're talking about Egghead sowing the seeds for Kizaru to start like leaning away from, you know, the people who told him to murder his best friend, even though his best friend was more right and the smartest man alive, you know, then later on in the series, the Akainu, Kuzan, Kizaru, Fujitora, they could be against the world government. I don't see why that would be so crazy, right? And I don't think that a lot of people necessarily would, in a realistic discussion, would disagree with that. But, you know.
I think that, and I don't know if I ever asked you this, but I just feel like after everything we saw from Kizaru in Egghead, and just like how conflicted about everything he was, especially towards the very end when he was like laying down, like covering his face.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just kind of feel like he might have been the one to give Luffy that food. I really do. That's your agenda. I really do feel like that was like, he's not going to necessarily like fully defect, but like
to give him like a standing chance.
That was, I think, one like thing he might have done that was within his own sort of like, it was the one thing that he would allow himself to do to give them a fighting chance.
Or Shaka's still alive. I'm just kidding.
I mean, I fucking wish, dude, just based on fucking character design alone.
I'm just kidding. But maybe.
No, I don't know. Shaka being alive. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the newest video out. I'll update the stream later on, like on a community post, why I couldn't get stuff, because I know I promised a bunch of videos this week. Shit happened, but that one of the videos is actually the idea that Shaka isn't fully, how do I say, he's dead but not dead. Like, it's weird, but Egghead's weird. So I think if I were to just like say as simple as possible, Shaka not being dead isn't the craziest thing you could tell me right now.
Yeah, because there's that whole other theory about like the satellites that we saw in the message are actually like their consciousnesses have been uploaded.
Oh,
And yeah, it's not actually necessarily like a pre-recorded thing so much as it is like, because all of the ones in that video and message are the only ones that just coincidentally are dead. So it people have said that it could be their consciousness that has been uploaded.
Well, their consciousness is essentially Vegapunk's.
Sure.
So
But
it's just like if Vegapunk is dead, then that would make sense. But then that would mean all of them would be there. So it's like,
well, but the logic is that if it was genuinely pre-recorded, then anybody could be there. York could be in the background. Atlas could be in the background. You know, Lilith could be in the background. But the only ones in it are the ones that in present time have
that were shown to be
so
taken
right
out.
Now I wish I had this video because it would have directly talked about. I guess let me try to think about the video real quick because there's more parts to it. But when I reacted to that chapter, it caught on to that thing where it's like, these are the ones that are dead, but this was pre-recorded. We know that much, which is interesting because if the purpose of that video is this is Vegapunk's confirmation to be criminalized by the world. So what the benefit of showing the dead Vegapunks are, but proclaiming that these are the Vegapunks, is that now the wanted posters are all incorrect. Like if they were to make wanted posters of the Vegapunks that are, going around the world, then the ones on the screen are useless. The visuals don't matter because the ones like Lilith or York or whatever, they're they don't got the visuals of them unless Lucci also somehow took pictures of them, just like Guernica did of Luffy, which we don't know if Lucci's a cameraman like that, but
he doesn't have the snapshot.
Yeah, he has that clock beard, but does he? Maybe Hattori's a camera. We don't know. Like, imagine
Hattori is a camera flying around taking photos and shit.
Yo, that would actually wait. Hold on, Hattori being a camera like bird.
That's your next video.
Yeah. That'd be a sick. That'd be kind of But
in that those satellites are a consciousness like theory, whatever.
Yeah.
In the message. There are so many people who were like, but they can't be because the clock. I'm like, bro, you don't think Vegapunk can change a clock? Come on.
So the video essentially starts out talking about how if the world's smartest man called Dragon ahead of time to say, I'm going to die, right? And he literally said he could foresee his own death, right? Like, I forget the exact line, but I dissect the line. And it kind of makes you wonder. It's like, so if he foresaw him dying, wouldn't you think that he like foresaw how he died? And it's also interesting because at the same time him saying that, the Stella was like, oh, take me off of the island. So is it Shaka is the only one who thinks that they're going to die, or Stella also knew that they were going to die but also wanted to be off the island? Why would you make such a weird request if you knew you were going to die? But also, if we take the knowledge of the fact that there's a pre-recorded video, well, that video had to be taken before Shaka called Dragon, because afterwards, that's when Stella and Shaka had never been together until Shaka had died. And all the times that they were together, that's when CP0 already invaded. So there's no point in between after that point where they could have recorded that video if the option is not like a cloud consciousness video streaming thing where they're creating some kind of VTube scenario, right? So if we take the notion that they pre-recorded it before Shaka called Dragon, then what I'm asserting in the video that's coming out next, if I get enough time, it might come out tonight, is that Shaka knew exactly what was going to happen on Egghead. So did Stella, those two specifically, and they knew which ones were going to die, like down to the T. They knew which ones were going to die, and that's why they had them on screen. And so everything that happened on Egghead was essentially them manipulating the situation in their favor, because they were the ones kind of steering the direction that they wanted to. And I discussed why that was the direction that they needed. And
Right.
I discussed the subsection of the video is talking about, like, does it really make sense that York was able to outsmart the other Vegapunks when we look at a parallel scenario where she's like, hey, you won't be able to crack the code. Minutes, seconds, all of them combined instantly crack the code. So if you take that scenario and you look at it, it's like, well, here's York trying to outsmart the other Vegapunks, and look how miserably that failed. And then look at her trying to outsmart the other Vegapunks in these situations, and look how miserably failed. So would it make sense that she was able to pre-plan all of this and outsmart the other Vegapunks? No, it wouldn't. So let's think about it.
Yeah, they let her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Used it to their favor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's why when you said, like, is Shaka dead? I'm saying yes, but there's a different nuance to that thing, and there's a few other specific lines I talk about. And so, like, I treat that part as just the analysis of Egghead, because at this point, where the place where we're at in Egghead, it's like all of these details are like minuscule. Like, we have the Gorosei coming out, we have giant yokai coming out, we have the giant slapping vice admirals around, we have the legendary Iron Giants apologizing to Joy Boy in his first words, we have the island on flames, like a bird is in the sky with the giant egg. Like, I don't know what's happening. Oda created this nonsense, good nonsense to be fair, and then there's all this like Vegapunk stuff, and I feel like Oda masked all the Vegapunk stuff with the Gorosei stuff, which is another point that I make, is that there is like a gap in the chapters, which we're cognizant of. People bring it up in the scope of what happened to Robin because she got injured, but they forget that what happened to Robin was an intentional 10 chapter time skip that Oda put into play, and we kind of masked it with our brains, because what Oda did was, in between that, he revealed all the Gorosei, he revealed the Reverie flashback, he revealed Emu, he revealed what happened to Cobra, he revealed all of that stuff. What happened to Lucia actually, and it's like, okay, all that stuff happened, how are we supposed to keep track of that? Oh, and also Garp stuff happened in between, and then we just jump back, and then it's York confessing, and it's like everything's fine, whatever, cool, and then Kizaru shows up, and then we start fighting Kizaru, and it's like, oh my god, and then we don't even, Kizaru's like, oh no, like, I'm down for the count, oh no, and then a magic circle comes out and lightning comes out, and then the Saturn's just there, and then while Saturn's there, we don't even believe what's on the screen. Half the community believes that he's astral projecting onto the island, and so like and then we can't even think about that, because now Kuma is making us cry, and it's like, oh my god, Oda, can we breathe? And then after Kuma, he comes in and socks Saturn in the face, and we're like, oh my god, this guy's Saturn just had his arms ripped. Nope, his arms back. Like, what is happening?
How long do you think that time skip was, or how long did you say it was?
The time skip isn't that long, but the biggest thing that Oda did was he jumbled up Stella chapters, where what happens is, if we were to go in continuity, is Stella is like laying down in the basement thing, and like he's like trying to figure out what the Cypher Pole people. Shock comes down, gets shot. York sits down, right? And then in continuity, what would be the thing is, right afterwards he meets up with Bonnie, and we can actually track that because he has a gash on his head that he has. And so he still has that gash when he's talking to Bonnie, and he says, the Straw Hats just saved me. And then we go back to chapter 1089, which is where he's standing over York, and he's just like, oh, and then that's where he has a bandage over there. So what happens is he's with Bonnie for some reason, goes downstairs, is captured by York for some reason, or beaten over the head with York, and then he goes back to Bonnie, and then he's back to York. And so that's where I'm discussing, we don't necessarily know the time, but we can discuss, like, okay, how did this guy do all this? Like, keep in mind, not all the cameras are down, But Shaka said like, oh, we can't see some of the place. That's interesting. But meanwhile, Stella
Right.
would have had to gone from Bonnie to the basement, back to Bonnie, all without being seen, all without running to Seraphim, all without doing these things. And that's where it's like, huh, we got some Scooby-Doo stuff going on here. Someone's wearing a yeah, I'm not gonna spoil it. But the point is that when people discuss like the end of Egghead, I think like we're talking about the Giants, we're talking about, you know, what happens to the Gorsey, who's winning Kizaru, but there's going to be a flashback into that moment from after 1079 to 1089. That 10 chapters, we don't know necessarily how much time passed. It's probably not like a day or something, obviously, but it's like a lot of events happen, and so the video's piecing together what Oda left us off with what he ended us with, and he makes it easy because the next chapter that we come back to, they're all together and they give us key dialogue bubbles that are kind of like, huh, why did he say that? He was there, so he shouldn't be saying that right now.
You're kind of like reminding me of how, I guess, like not weird in a bad way, but just like weird that was, right, that all of a sudden like certain events had just happened, and at the time, and I guess a part of me still does feel this way, I thought, oh, you know what? It just wasn't really important to show Robin handle York or whatever. Like it almost, to me, I felt like a lot of other people were justifying it as this thing to show how strong like the Straw Hats had become, that, you know, we don't need to see, you know, all of their fights happen. They're so strong now that they could just sort of like off panel or off page, you know, these freaking, you know, characters or whatever. But when you put it in the context of like everything else and like other pieces of dialogue, it does seem like odd, as if like there is something more there that might be revealed later on.
Yeah. And I liked what you said about Vegapunk, like the Stella and also Shaka kind of knowing the events beforehand, because I was thinking about like, because we're reacting to the anime of Egghead, so we watch pretty much all episodes. We're caught up, and we have a lot of them on our Patreon, and we upload some episodes to our main channel. Not everyone, the bangers. But there was an episode recently where Vegapunk asked Luffy, like, oh, will you take me with you? Like, will you take me off this island? Like, I want to get off this island. And Luffy's like, oh, yeah, like, for sure, 100%, because you look goofy. I like your apple head. Yeah. And they're like, really? That's because? And then Vegapunk's like, yeah, okay, cool. I knew you'd say yes. I was like, you don't even know him. Yeah. Like, this is the first time you've met him.
I mean, I feel like there was also something.
I get like vibes and stuff, but just to that point.
Yeah.
It's so like, and what Oda did was just like, we found out later on that Vegapunk actually knew a lot more than he let on, which makes sense given his character. He knew so much about Luffy through Kuma, for example, but also just of the situation. They had been investigated for multiple months on end by Cypher Pole. You can't let me think that like York pre-planned whatever she did, but the others, the other Vegapunks couldn't. And the whole notion of it is that Vegapunk York is talking about her being able to replace the other Vegapunk because she is Vegapunk. It's like, okay, so then how is one Vegapunk versus 6 others, right? The 6 will probably win. The main guy, and plus logic, plus the other ones, plus wisdom, you know, like the thinker. And when you put in some of the lines, I can't think of them off the top of my head, but there's a few lines that are just like, wait a second, like, let's talk about this. If Vegapunk went as far as having this, we have to recognize that there's a dead man switch. So he pre-planned to a certain extent of like the current situation of his death. He called Dragon ahead of time, but he also recorded it beforehand. So it's like, if that was all he had planned, like, would that make sense? Why would he plan the end part but not the middle part, right? Why is it so coincidental that the ones on the screen are the only ones that happen to be dead? And there was even a not correction on like a editing part, but like Lilith was like, oh no, Edison died, and he's like, nope, actually Edison's not dead. And it's like, cool, that's a make sure that Edison's alive. I wonder why that's important. And I feel like there's a few other things that I teased, I forget who I teased. It was probably Sai. I was like, there's a certain satellite, the main satellite, not main satellite. There's a certain satellite that their dialogue is like crazy, and their presence also is crazy, because it's like they said so many things that people had been latched onto, but because Oda breeze through like Gorosei, breeze through Emu, it's like, why are we paying attention to the satellites anymore? Where Emu just told us this crazy stuff about the D-Clan and Lily, and then like Sabo's running out, Cobra's like, oh, we're D-Clans too. It's like, how are you supposed to pay attention? And then Kuma again, like that's like the main thing that Oda does. He's like, he puts these important things in your face, but then he makes you forget with even crazier things. And
well, yeah, I mean, that's the strategy of the whole final saga, dude. It's just like throw everything at us, because then, you know, we're like you said, we're gonna forget, because there's so many threads, there's so many things happening all at once, and they're all crazy. Yeah. So of course, when something else that we haven't read in a long time happens, we're gonna be like, what the fuck, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, or just didn't, just like you were saying, Par, like it happened, but so many other things are happening right now that we'll get cut back, and we'll get to see it unfold, and then be like, oh, okay, that makes more sense, or I didn't even think about that. Because even when reading weekly, it was like, oh yeah, Robin, that was, oh, okay,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Like, she's back now. She's okay. And she was, I mean, you know, again, it's like proving how strong they are, but she was pretty banged up. Like, let's be real.
I mean, she had some bandages.
She has some injuries, you know, and I don't injuries, but I don't even remember what York looked like after that. Like,
well, she was just like,
she seems fine,
tied up, I think, right?
Yeah.
But it is crazy, because when people were like, "Where's Robin?" Like, because she's been kind of like MIA too, for it feels like, you know. But again, it might not be that she's MIA. It just might be that like there's too many things happening right now.
Yeah. And with Robin, it's funny because it's like, when you look back at all the moving parts that are involved with Robin, like a lot of people might have forgotten that, like Oda kind of did. He did a thing where in previous times this is kind of a bigger deal, but Brook went actually astral projected. He left that scenario. So like I think he was with Nami, I think I think he was with Nami or something. And then once their situation kind of boiled down with Sanji coming in to save the day, Brook left and astral projected to find Stella. And there's more characters like that are missing in that thing, and it's like, yeah, it could just simply be cut and dry, all this stuff happened super simply, but then I'm like, okay, Oda made Zoro go missing, he made S-Hawk go missing, he made Shaka go miss. Well, Shaka ended up showing up very quickly. Atlas, Robin, Chopper, yep, all three of them went towards the thing. Then there's also the fact that Stella was able to go back and forth. Brook is in his astral projection form, and I think there was like two other characters that need to be accounted for, that are kind of important. And there's a specific thing that each satellite had said that's kind of like, I don't know if it's as cut as dry than we think. And I go back to in the video talking about, Oda said that recently, even, that one of his favorite things to do, especially in an arc like this, is he likes leaving voids, and these void parts are so that later on he could, like, how many things can I connect back? And so that's like how he writes a lot of times, where it's like,
that makes sense.
Is everything foreshadow? He's like, yeah, there's a lot of big things that are foreshadowed, but Water 7, for example, Frankie was going to join the crew, and the Going Merry was going to have its funeral, but in between that, he wanted to create confusion for Frankie join the crew. So he added a bunch of shipwrights, which includes Lucci. He didn't have a villain. He looked at Lucci, and his name wasn't even Lucci. It was a pigeon guy. It was just pigeon guy, right? And so then in between these like moments, he creates like these voids, and it's like, okay, how do I make these characters connect? Okay, this is what we're gonna do. But at the end of the day, there's these large standing things that were foreshadowed, and then in between there's these crazy things that he like ad libs. And then he does it again with like Lucci, where it's like, okay, Lucci left the story. Now, how do I connect him back? Like, there's a whole gap in his story. Let me cook up something. And now Lucci's back in the story. Okay, so now that Lucci's like continuing to be important, I'm sure Oda's going to create a way to make his like backstory a little bit more important, which is kind of what we got at the introduction of Egghead, where we see Lucci questioning the world government. He's like, hi, I wonder if this is what happened in Lucia, which is very different than what happened at the beginning of Eni's lobby, where it's like they all came back from different missions. Not a single one of them questions. Like, yeah, I just killed 10 dudes. The Revolutionary Army was doing that thing. And here we are, we're going to kill the Straw Hats. Cool.
And Oda's going out of his way to show us, like you guys were saying earlier, bringing it all the way back about how things could end up in the, final battle, because not only did we see Kizaru feel so conflicted, but at the end when Lucci was asking the Gorosei to save Kaku and he was basically like ignored, there was a moment even for Lucci where he was like, well, fucking damn, like, what am I like?
He's like, okay, exactly.
Yeah, what am I doing? So I don't know. It's like Oda's going out of his way to show us in multiple cases that these people are starting to realize, like, maybe not maybe so far as like maybe I'm on the wrong side, but maybe these guys aren't the guy. Like the Gorosei specifically, because that's what I've always said about Kizaru. Like, he's never gonna not be a part of the Marines, but I just don't think he wants to be directly under the Gorosei. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that multiple people are realizing that.
Mecha Troy in the chat says similar to Lil Wayne's writing process.
Oda Lil Wayne doesn't write anything down, dude. If you watch No Ceilings, the Nino Brown documentary, he goes through his whole sort of process. Right, this fantastic piece of film. No Ceilings, greatest mixtape of all time. Thank you.
Thank you.
People were slandering him on like there was like a short or something where he like forgot like someone was reading his line and he's like, damn, that shit was dope, and then they were like, you said that, and he's like, whoa, it was me, that's crazy. And so we were like, damn, Lil Wayne got a ghostwriter. I'm like, no, that's not the takeaway here. It's that he's not written so much, he's saying so much that it's not like he's gonna remember all lines because he doesn't write them down, and it's just wild.
Yeah, Lil Wayne is the GOAT, and he needs to be in more GOAT conversations, dude. I see people, always putting all these other people up above him, and I get it. You got your Kendricks, I get it.
You're talking about
but it's Wayne.
But it's Wayne. This is Weezy.
Like, it's always going to be Wayne. Like,
Hot boy Wayne, okay?
And the people, it's like Adam Sandler, okay? He makes some goofy songs, I'm not gonna lie. There's some songs. There's a specific song
Adam Sandler?
that says no, Lil Wayne.
Oh, I was like, Adam Sandler.
Yeah, I was confused too.
No, I'm talking about Lil Wayne.
Okay, go.
There's some, he has bangers, but there's also some songs I go, okay, what was he cooking?
Yeah.
Wayne?
Yes. There's a song that says the P word like too many, like
Pussy Monster. It's a classic.
I'm like,
it's a hood classic.
It's like Dr. Seuss, but with the word pussy. And I was just like, what is he on right now? But it's like that, right? It's like
Lean.
that, right? So it's like Adam Sandler, like he makes goofy stuff sometimes, and people disrespect his name when he's a really good actor and he has a great career and he's just having fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I equated. They're not the same, but don't come at me. Don't come at me. The Wayne has, what are they called? Wheezies? What is it called, his fan base?
I don't know.
Wayne's.
We just call ourselves
W's.
Right. We just call ourselves the truth. But if there was a Gorosei of rap, then not in terms of like their moral, I'm just saying in terms of their power, in terms of their position, then Wayne would be part of the Gorosei of hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
Like Yonko, but like, or Pirate.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I was thinking like Shanks level.
He would he would be like Nika. He would be written down on the tablet.
Yeah,
dude. I don't think there's a person who would do, like if the current top 3 were to make a diss track on Lil Wayne, they'd be cooked. Like immediately.
Instantly.
Yeah. Actually, no, Shanks is a good one. It'd be like Kid walking up to Elbaf and being wanting to smoke and like,
Yeah.
you know.
Kid is Machine Gun Kelly. That's Kid.
Yeah.
That's who Kid is.
It's
going
funny
after
because
Eminem, you know.
I'm fair, but like he went to a whole different. See, that's a real discussion. Where it's like, Kid, is he still gonna be a pirate after, or is he gonna be like a chef, or is he gonna change genres entirely like Machine Gun Kelly?
Bro, you know what? I don't know why you just got me thinking about it, but like. You don't have to like have a strong opinion on it, but I just want to know if you have any opinion or where you stand on the whole like Kid is a satellite, Kid is a
Oh, I really like that. Oh my god! Oh my god!
Yeah, wait, did you see my tweets about it? Like people were People were like, "Oh man, Kid's on the Par's land. I ain't never seen Par moving like this." Because I was saying like. Because I forgot who tweeted it. Someone tweeted saying like, "Do you see the 7 on damn Punk? Blah blah blah. That means he's the 7th satellite." I was like, "Do you understand what this means? Like, this would mean that Vegapunk made a stupid satellite. This would mean that there's
like
But I kind of like that. It was a failed attempt. That's why he was able to leave, right?
Like it was like." Fine, whatever. Like, who did he clone? Why is this existence there? If he's a failure, he's still like. Then we're canonically calling him a failure at that point. Like, there's no.
I mean, we already were though.
Right.
We already were though.
Yeah, but
I'm
it wasn't
kidding.
canonically.
Sorry.
You know what I mean? Like,
I'm sorry.
I
understand.
And then I forgot what it was, but the one good thing that I said, if that was the case, is that would mean that pushes my agenda that Vegapunk has Conqueror's Haki, because if it's his clone, then if Kid has Conqueror's Haki and he never showed it, then then the minimum would be that Vegapunk could have Conqueror's Haki then. So, it's interesting if that's the case. But
I'm just saying, Kid ain't no Vegapunk, okay? He ain't no Vegapunk, period.
I wouldn't be, because I've discussed the idea that all of the crews having some kind of connection to Vegapunk would be interesting. If it's that direct that Kid had that, then like Oda's gonna have to take that backstory from the SBS and really like cook some next level
work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reverse engineering. Yeah.
Maybe he's not like a Vegapunk like clone. Maybe he's his actual son.
Okay, I'll wait for the video on that.
That's it. That's it. I would just think like, it's just funny. Like, I don't know, sometimes when it comes to One Piece, the relation to people, like it's not it's not shown or like talked about, where it's like, oh yeah, like later on in the story we find that Dragon is related to Luffy. We're like, oh shit, that's crazy. I get to see Vegapunk being like, oh yeah, I have a son.
But that was like,
I mean, there's no proof. It's just agenda.
Well, because his SBS, I don't even remember everything that was said in that SBS about Kid's backstory. But
it was just that like he was on an island that was run by like basically different gangs, like 4 gangs, and then one of them killed his childhood girlfriend, lover. That's Victoria.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
And that's why they named the ship Victoria. Something.
That's right.
Yeah. That's why the whole. I mean, I'm not particularly sad about the events that happen. I'm just sad for the ship, because I would never name my ship after like my lost lover and then put it in threats way like that, like Shanks. You know what I mean? Like if Shanks knew the backstory of that ship, I feel like even he would be like, I'm not gonna take out the ship. That's messed up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and the worst part is maybe Shanks did read it. Maybe because Shanks had the old Carfax on Kid. He read the Carfax. He saw the One Piece wiki on Kid, and he's like, "Oh, his ship is his girl. Let me teach him a thing or two. We took his arm. Let's take his girl too." And so
it's the lesson. It's the lesson that needed to be enforced with that type of behavior. I mean, yeah, he tried to go in like Luffy.
Listen, and also
he really did.
Like this is the reality though. Kid was so far off of Elbaf that he might as well have been closer to Egghead. That's how far off when you look at the ships that he was fighting are like pixels on the horizon. He's not even close to Elbaf. To say that he was on Elbaf is like to say that I'm in Europe right now. That's how far he was. And so maybe, let's say he did die and his consciousness went back into Punk Records, and that's when, you know, Vegapunk had like, oh, this is a Yonko crew. Let's not fight the Yonko crew, because that's what Shaka heard, and Lilith was, he told Lilith, like, yo, these are Yonkos, don't fight. Luffy's a real Yonko. Look what happens to the fake Yonko. Or look what happens when you try to fight a real Yonko like Shanks, right? So,
Yep.
yeah.
I mean, that's it. I mean, people were like, oh, like kid slander. I mean, it's just factual. Like, it is just factually correct.
He's a Yonk. No, that's what I call him.
Yeah.
Can I tell you another? Good. Thank you. Can I tell you another agenda that I just remembered I have?
Oh.
Yeah, go for it. And then we'll get to super chats after that.
Okay, I just remembered this agenda that I have that I'm, as of this moment in time, very passionate about.
Okay.
Elbaf, the Elbaf arc will be more of Robin's arc than Usopp's arc.
Oh.
Not to say that Usopp's not going to have some moments or whatever, but it's going to be more about, I think Robin's going to have more to do than Usopp's going to have to do. Everybody says
see that.
Elbaf is Usopp's arc, his moment, even going so far as to say his training arc. But
no.
Well,
it's just like Egghead. We all were under the assumption that this is going to be Frankie's shining moment.
Right.
Because of everything that happened, you know, during the 2-year break when he was, you know, training and not training, but like learning. And we're like, this is so sick. I can't wait to see that interaction between the two of them. And it was like the biggest throwaway. It was like, oh my God, there he is. Okay, bye. I was like, oh my God. And now he's freaking dead. And it's just like, what? But I totally agree, because I mean, Robin, I mean, the Pongless, everything.
Saul's there. O'Hara, the books are there.
And if we see what's to happen, if we're under the impression that we're going to be from Elbaf to Laugh Tale, like,
yeah, yeah. I'm just saying, dude. I just think that.
What do you think?
People are really holding on to this. Usopp is Elbaf's going to be Usopp's arc thing.
I think,
and I think we need to accept that that's not going to be the case.
I agree with you. I think that it's going to be more like the building blocks for Usopp are going to be starting there, and then the unfortunate reality, and I say unfortunate because a lot of people don't like Usopp, is that Usopp is going to have a way more critical role at the end of the last saga than we can ever realize. Like, and that reality has been the case. Like, Usopp having the role he had in Dressrosa is just like, he became a god. He was if he had not done what he did, yeah, sure, things could have worked out fine, whatever, but like their plans would have went into smithereens. And it's like Oda couldn't even give Usopp that much time, but he gave him the notoriety there. But then you even look at movies, like Usopp always has like some kind of critical role, but like you look at Stampede, he was like used by the plot as like Luffy's Gohan. I don't know if you guys know like the Dragon Ball Z references like that, where it's like Usopp literally laid the seeds against a Yonko level character, this like human character, literally hitting him with plants, and that guy beat him senseless and laughed at him, and Luffy's just like, you lost because you laughed at my homie right now. And that homie ended up literally sprouting this thing that ended up like creating so much dysfunction in that, I forget how much. I was like, that's fake as shit. There's no way. There's no way this dude awakens into this mega monster, and then Usopp's pop greens did this much damage. And it did. It's short, but that's the reality. Like, that kind of plot is what Oda put in. That's like, Oda is not the director for the things, but he gives the plot lines, the direction for all those things. And so Usopp playing that role, I can't imagine a director being like, you know, let's make this useless character. I say useless, guys. I like Usopp. You know, I have full videos on it.
Flip it.
Don't, whatever. But the point being is that that like
You said it.
when we look at Elbaf and the way people talk about Usopp, I think about it the same way of like Zoro and Wano, where I have a video talking about like after we got Wano, even in the first act, we should have very quickly realized that Zoro's arc was not going to be Wano because he was already the best swordsman on Wano. There's no reason once we got to Wano, when he found out that Kaido had spent the last 20 years taking away martial arts, taking away food, crippling them, killed all the prominent swordsmen. The other swordsmen got time skipped into a role where the best swordsman already was with us, and he was looking at Zoro like, yo, this guy's a freak of nature, dude. Like, Kinemon was looking at Zoro like, huh? You learn how to cut fire? You just cut a mountain? That's some Odin level shit right now, you know?
Yep.
Like, and that was the best swordsman to survive and make it there. And so we go into Wano and we find out that Kinemon's technically the number one dude, and Zoro's already eclipses him beyond like anything, right? And so and then we go to the part where people are upset, like, oh, you didn't go to the grave. It's like, my man saw his corpse. Like, my man talked to his being. He took the sword. He took his thing. We already did that hundreds of chapters ago. Why would he need to go to the grave? What, to talk to? He already talked to the Grim Reaper. Like, we don't even know what that Grim Reaper is. That wasn't even something that was supposed to be on Wano, right? And if anything, that's the underworld. We need Zoro to go to the underworld at that point. We need Zoro to go swimming underneath Wano before he lands on Wano. Like, that's more important at that point. But the you know, the Elbaf thing, it's a weird thing because Oda puts in that line like, Usopp's like, oh my god, Dorian Brody are my masters. Like, masters of what? What do they teach you? They don't even know your name. Like, they never even spoke to you. They laughed at you on a little guy. And I'm being slanderous, but that's the reality.
Damn, you're going in hard.
I
it's so true, and I you know, we, as the story has gone on, I think both of us, when we first started reading it, like Sierra Village was like Sierra Village, right? That's his arc. Yeah, I'm stirred. Sierra Village was like one of my favorite arcs pre time skip. Like, it was so good. And I was so excited to see it in the live action. I loved Usopp after that and continued to love him as a character. And even all the stuff that happened with him and Luffy, I thought, like, this is such a great moment. Like, it just story-wise and for these characters, it was such a turning point. And I think that a lot of people from that point on were like, don't really like Usopp. But it's so human and it's so real for him to have gone through all of that with Luffy and everyone else on the crew. And I really love that. And as the story has gone on, with a lot of other characters too, I just feel like some characters get obviously more shine than others. And especially in Wano, I think that both of us agree, like, Usopp has definitely gone lower and lower on our favorites for the Straw Hats. Not saying that we hate any of them, because there's just impossible.
Usopp.
But it sucks. And it sucks that I feel this way about him kind of now. It's not even the community. It's just like,
yeah, but at the same time, I could say that he wasn't really doing shit on Egghead, but wanted to act like he was doing something when Dorian Broggy showed up. Then he wanted to act like he was in charge and shit. Then he wanted to act like, oh, my masters are here. You guys, we gotta all
That's what he does.
You know, we gotta all do this and do that. Started barking orders, and you know, I'm just like, I would call Par out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I expect Par to call me out. I love Par. I love Usopp. Okay, yeah.
I understand. I understand the frustration, I guess. But I guess it's just like, we have to accept this. Just like we have to accept how Sanji acts. And that's it.
Yeah.
It's like, this is a part of his character. This is how he is. And you could, I mean, love it or hate it, but just accept it.
It's a little bit
just
like
how it's gonna be.
It's a little bit like with Dragon, where it's unfortunate, but part of the long series and how Oda writes is he creates the focal points, and you want everybody to be growing during all of the transitions in every arc. But unfortunately, he puts the focus on a few characters, but that doesn't mean that they won't get it later on. And I feel like One Piece is a story where like Kuma, Bonnie, it's like, I don't think, like, a lot of people were oblivious to the Kuma hype before Kuma, but like me and a few other people, we loved Kuma through, like, from the very beginning. And for me, it was just like the there's no way Oda creates a character that's connected to so much and lets him drop. And then when we got his story, it's like, oh my god, this is a side character, guys. This is a side character, and Oda put this gap in there. Now imagine what he does with the main characters, and he's going to give them the love when it's their time, and it's their main characters. They're each going to get an arc. They're each going to get a time, and I think ultimately Oda has, especially in Egghead, demonstrated that he's capable of giving that time. And that's part of the reason why the story has extended so long, is because he's having a lot of fun giving that time to all these characters.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it before too. You know, the week to week grind is a different kind of grind. You know, like you consume things over such a long period of time. So it feels like characters haven't done things in even longer stretches. You know what I mean? Of time. But if you were to go back and read it all the way through, then I'm sure it wouldn't feel, it would obviously not feel the same.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And I think that, like, especially with Usopp, like, I don't know, I guess expectations for, like, his character, because what they've been, it's like he's going to go to Elbaf and, like, his character is going to change completely. That's just not going to happen. Like, he's not going to completely do...
It's probably going to start
you know...
But
yeah, and it's not going to be like, oh, because if it was a completely different character, then that loses the charm of Usopp. Like, I don't want him to just turn into, like, this badass that's, like, just always a badass and believes he's a badass and just, like that. Then that's not Usopp. That's a different character. Yeah. So I think that, like, him doing things, or him, like, I think someone on the chat said, where did we see it? Sword Egg said, if Usopp can just master his observation hockey, I'll be happy with just that.
Yeah, same.
Like,
dude.
It's literally like, it doesn't have to be this crazy revelation for his character, because I don't want him to change drastically. Any of the Straw has to change drastically.
His observation gets on, like, Yasop, like what him and Yasop were doing in Film Red. Like, that shit, it was crazy. That shit was crazy.
I mean, Yasop was involved, so I didn't really fucking like it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, honestly, Elbaf aside, like, the character arc needs Usopp to just, like, the moment his hockey blooms is when he beats his ass's face in. You know, it's like, that's when he's just like, I don't know. I don't know what he can say. Some hard ass line like, "Who's your daddy now?" So I don't know, some crazy thing like that. But
I'm my own dad.
Yeah, I'm my own daddy.
Yeah, call me Dad Sop. Like some crazy.
Oh, I like that.
Nah, it would be like it was in the fucking movie, bro. It was just like, oh, Dad, like, don't give him that, Usopp. Don't give him anything.
No,
don't ever give him anything ever again.
Worse than that, Yasop called him an idiot. In Film Red, he's just like, Usopp, you idiot! I've been here this entire time. It's like I was sitting next to Jay when that happened, and we looked at each other, and we're just like, is he for real right now? And like, I couldn't be happy, because that power that they did was a long-standing theory. Mind rope, like, literally predicted that thing. And with these characters, I said this, but I said that there was going to be like some kind of character arc, you know, Yasop, Usopp, they come to understand it. In the movie, he straight up slanders him, calls him an idiot, and I'm like, no, this isn't how it's supposed to be. This director needs to read the story real quick. Like, that was so wild. That was so wild.
That's crazy.
But yeah, let me get to some of these super chats, and then we'll hop back into some discussions. Actually, the last super chat here is a good segue into other stuff. Real quick, I remember a chat from John Smith earlier. He was saying, "Thank you for introducing me to Volume 1 in 2022."
Oh shit!
Yeah. So John Smith, I guess, has been watching, guys, back from when we collabed then, and it's been a long time since we've been collabed.
I know.
Good memories,
it's been a minute.
Good memories of
what?
John Smith.
Oh no, yeah, John Smith. No, we stand John Smith.
Gotcha.
But it feels like it has been a minute. You know, we've done like Reverie streams and things like that, but actually like one-on-one, it does feel like it's been a minute.
Yeah. I've been not. So like 2 weeks ago, I think, or last week, that was the first Voice of All Things I had done in 7 months with one-on-one. Yeah. So that was a Joy Boy. I had some technical difficulties, not as bad as today, but you know, also this week was crazy, which the whole last few months have been crazy, but had to pull it back up with you guys. So appreciate you guys
Appreciate
give
it.
me that time.
Yeah.
And if you guys don't know, I mean, 3Day's been linking their thing. They should be tagged at the top, Volume 1 podcast. They mentioned it a little bit a while ago, but they have the Done Piece thing where they were catching up with the series, and then they did my favorite thing. Again, I always bring it up, was you were the people that got my wife into One Piece. Like, I got her into One Piece, but she heard Megan crying when she caught up to 1044, 1045 with Luffy doing the Freedom, the Gear 5, all that stuff. And my wife's like, dang, like, they just started a year ago. And I was like, yeah, see, everybody loves One Piece, just do it. And then Megan having my wife, was just like, yeah, but like, I thought you were just a weird, like, me talking about me. She was like, I thought you were just like this weirder kid that had it for his entire life, and I wouldn't feel the same way. And then she connected with Megan more than me, and I get it, more relatable person, which speaks volumes about your channel, Volume 1 podcast, which you guys, I think, are uploading. You guys are doing the second season, right, of Code Geass now?
Yeah, that's on our second channel, Volume 1 Plus, which if you go to our main channel, there's links to the second channel. But yeah, we're doing some like classic anime reactions on that channel. So we've gone through Neon. It was my first time going through it. We went through Gurren. It was also my first time, both of our first time going through Gurren. And now we're into Code Geass. And we just released, as of today, our first reaction to the second season of Code Geass.
Oh my gosh. It's honestly raising, like, it's, I don't want to say top 3, but it's really good.
I'm Geassed out right now, dude. I'm on
really
I'm on a Geass high.
Yeah.
No, and that's like, okay, real quick, for anyone who doesn't know, Code Geass is like #1 of all time for me. And because I watched it when I was younger. Like, I watched it, this was like one of the first things I watched it when it was coming out, basically. But this was back in the day when you had to like fight people to watch things online. So like, and it was so good that I watched it. And I remember my brother was like studying for the SATs, and we shared a room, and so like I watched it while he was studying, and he was always upset at me for doing that, which I was this goofy little brother that was just obnoxious, but he got sucked in. It was so good that he watched it with me. He's like, he wasn't mad. We binged it together. He said, all right, I have to study for these exams, so if we're gonna watch it, we have to watch it all in one day. And so we just sat together. We just me and my brother watched it straight, like 2 days, and he's like, this is one of the greatest things of all time. And I was just like, yeah. And so like, there's so much to Code Geass that I just love. And one of my biggest fears is like, obviously, as time passes, there's gonna be great things, other stuff, but people forget like a lot of plots and a lot of like things were built off of like the shoulders of these giants, and Code Geass is one of them. Gurren Lagann is one of them, and like Gurren Lagann, and like so many of those ones. Gurren Lagann, Code Geass, Death Note, they're all in the same bag of like, you have to watch those ones to like people make references to this day to all of those series, and it's just phenomenal.
Even Neon too, man. Like, it's so cerebral and it's so philosophical. It's something that still holds all the way up. All of these series hold all the way up in 2024.
Yeah, and like, it's funny how it's like classified as like, because it has mechs. That's what it has. But I kind of strayed away from mech anime for a really long time. Like, I never really watched any like Gundam or anything like that. So I kind of was like, oh, this genre is just really not for me, because I'm not really a big, heavy mech robots fighting each other type of person. But I was so pleasantly surprised with all 3 of these series. Like, that is on the back burner. I mean, that is not the complete focus of the story. Like, the characters are what is the complete focus. And I thought it was going to be reversed. And I'm so happy with all 3 of the ones that we've watched and reviewed on that channel, Volume 1 Plus. It's been just like phenomenal. It's been like a Code Geass. It exceeded every single one of my expectations for the show. And I had always seen Lelouch as like the, top in my anime list, like best protagonist of all time. And I was like, what? Who is this fool? Like, why?
so
Now I
cool.
understand. And the series it just moves. It moves, and everything is intentional, and there's no space to even like. It's just the strategy and the battling and the mind games and everything, and the characters and the music and the OPs and the EDs and the OSTs and the all the teams. Oh, it's so good. I'm just so hype. And it's like I'm so glad we talk about this all the time. Like, I'm so glad to have, obviously you watched it early on, and I don't know if I would have appreciated it as much. It would have had like nostalgia, and it would have been still an amazing show. But as an adult, it is like so.
Have you rewatched it like as an adult?
Yeah, so a lot of people actually don't know this, but they continued it past the seasons in movies, and so there's other movies that are not, like spin-offs, and they're insanely good. And so when I was in college, those started coming out, and then there's a technical third season, and then they have like a finale type of movie, but I don't know if that one was like fully canon, but it was. It's weird. I'm forgetting the context of it, but like, so I had rewatched it then, and it's just insane. And like, if people watch it now, there's like obviously some things that are sort of archaic. Like there's some episodes that are like sort of slice in life, but that's like back at the times everything had that. And those episodes are still relevant and good, and oh my God, it's so good memories.
It's great.
Like when I saw you as a CC or C2, whatever some people call her other way, and Josh as Lelouch, I was like, oh my God, I want to cosplay Code Geass for no reason, for absolutely no reason.
I know, dude. I wanna be Zero though. Like I want to do a Zero cosplay.
Yeah. This is like dark Shaka. Like yeah.
Bro, yeah, we should just be the helmet boys, and one of us is Shaka and one of us is Zero.
Which is like, so another thing that a lot of people didn't know, but one of my like, this was probably, I'm gonna get slandered with this. It was like a not bittersweet. It catfished me, set me up. The director of Film Red was Goro Taniguchi, which was the creator and director of Code Geass. And so I was like, oh, we're cooking now. This guy's gonna clap cheeks. And it's like, it was good. Everything is great. But like, obviously it's a One Piece movie. There wasn't canon stuff. So, and it's not his series, like that. Right. So, but what we got from it, given what he had to do in the time. And I'm like, all right, I'm not
I didn't
mad.
know there was that connective tissue there. I didn't know.
Yeah. And so like Oda, I think specifically said like, I couldn't think of a better person for this in the promo. But everybody knows that they kind of gassed the Film Red promo. They hit that accelerator and did not stop. They had Film Red Shanks and chicken nuggets, bro. It's like, okay, let's calm down a little bit.
I like Film Red for me was an exercise in expectations. I think that like, because you mentioned which is something you've told us before, and it like really does mean the world to both of us that like, your wife was able to finally get into the series because of Mega's reaction to it. But because we're so like new compared to a lot of other people who've been reading it since they were, in high school, there has been a lot of like learning that has gone into like how I personally experience the story. Like there have been so many times where my expectations for things have been through the roof, and I have learned to like temper those expectations. Yeah. And Film Red was one of those things because, like you said, dude, the promo, bro, they were guessing that movie up like it was gonna be like, and then Gear 5 was like kind of gonna be in it, and all these things were gonna be happening. And then I watched it, and I liked it. Yeah. I liked it, but I think because of what I expected.
Oh, of course.
I was a little like.
It was our first movie that was coming out when we were caught up.
Like to go get to see in theaters.
Yeah, because we hadn't watched. I hadn't watched any One Piece movies. I don't think had watched any One Piece movies before you were reading or watching One Piece.
I did, yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
What did you watch?
I watched
Stampede?
I watched Strong World. I watched
See, I didn't watch anything.
yeah.
So
And
I mean,
if you like in the scope of One Piece movie, it's in the top. It's in the top for sure. Like if not number one for a lot of people. I know creators and viewers would put it of One Piece movies the number one, and that makes sense. But it's also this is like an also like OG anime style movie where it's like a non-canon-ish thing of like putting the characters out, having some way to get people to watch the actual series without spoiling them about a long-standing series, because it showcases in the box office. So it's like there's going to be a bunch of people that don't watch the series but are curious, and then they check it out, and it's like imagine spoiling them about so much stuff. But so it's interesting. I don't like, I'm not, there's a lot of people who hate the movie. I'm like, I can't hate the movie. That's a little bit too far.
No. Yeah, that's much.
Yeah. But yeah, so the Code Geass stuff, and there's so much on your channel, I think, and after Code Geass, I think a lot of my viewers are going to be happy about this, is that Vinland Saga is on your radar as far as series to cover, right?
yes,
sir.
yes.
So-
We're gonna be reading through it.
Mm-hmm.
We may or may not react to some episodes, like some,
React.
major fight.
No. First 2 episodes, you have to. You have to.
Oh, okay. So first 2, that's good. That's perfect.
Yeah, first 2 you have to, because for me, so this isn't spoiler, but like they did they did something different. So I would recommend reading it. I haven't read it, but I've watched through Hidden Islands thing, and then he also watched some of the stuff, and I think that would be the more proper way of reading it and then watching the thing. But the reason why I say watching it is because then you get an idea of how they transitioned some of the manga into the thing, and it's just not fathomable of like, this is an insanity that they did it like this. But also the way they capture emotions, because for me, a lot of people hype up Vinland Saga for like the action stuff. For me, it's not that at all. It's the anime, music, everything that they did emotionally. Like literally the first
I know, now you're making me want to watch it.
The first 2 episodes, I tell this to everybody. It's like, I don't think there's a better series that taught like fatherhood than that. It's crazy.
Damn.
Yeah.
But that's the same thing. Like, that's another reason, because I'm in, like, I said this yesterday on our community live, but like, I'm in my fantasy era, dude. Obviously, a lot of my tattoos are all like fantasy. I've been a D&D fantasy Lord of the Rings nerd my whole life. I love it. But like with everything, I go through phases. But I'm back in now all the way, and I've just been itching for something like a Vinland Saga, because Berserk is another one of my all-time favorite series. And just to your point about like the action or the fighting or whatever, and just the assumptions that even we made about like maybe mech anime, for the longest time I thought Berserk was just this like badass metal slaughter fest sort of manga. But the character, the complexity of not just Guts, but every single fucking character in that story is what makes it like a masterpiece. And I've just been itching for something. A lot of people, I feel like, even though they're completely different stories, do kind of talk about Vinland and Berserk in the same breath. Not that they compare them to each other, but that they are, I don't know how to say it, but like, not that they even feel similar. But do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
And I'm just so like, even hearing you say that about like a story about like fatherhood and being a good dad, I mean, that gets me more excited, because that's the stuff I love.
Yeah, it's crazy, because we just reacted to a new manga that just came out. It's an assistant to Tatsuki Fujimoto, which is the creator of Chainsaw Man. His name is Toru Kuramori, and it's called Centuria. And only 1 chapter is out right now. And it's literally like Vinland and Berserk had a baby.
Yeah, at least in the first chapter.
And the first chapter is goated. Like,
great.
It's really good. And it's a great setup for the rest. It's like, once you start reading, you're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, Vinland.
If you like Vinland,
Berserk,
yeah.
With almost like, at times, a Dr. Stone art style, but not throughout. I would just say there's a couple of panels where you're like, oh, I could see that sort of like relation. but it really is the love child of like Vinland and Berserk in the best way.
Yeah, check it out. It's really good.
That's awesome. And for insight, guys, the volume 1 podcast, typically they start off with the first volume of a series, and then if it catches them, then they ask the community if they should continue and post. And in general, One Piece obviously passed, they're here now. Imagine that you guys stop. I forget, does One Piece one that you were going in just one volume, or did you guys know that you guys were just gonna keep going?
No, I think we just reviewed the first volume.
Yeah, I mean that's how yeah. Like you said it, that's sort of like, even with Berserk, like we've gone all the way through a couple series, like even like Chainsaw Man, Berserk, Hell's Paradise. I mean, there's been so many. And with One Piece, because again, if you don't know anything about One Piece, if you've just like peripherally, through like osmosis, like absorb things here or there, like there's no way for you to understand like how deep the story really goes. So yeah, we were just like, oh yeah, like it's super popular, people love it.
And yeah, we were obviously fans of anime and manga for a long time, and before we knew of it. So it's like
I watched the 4 Kids. I watched,
I didn't watch anything. I think I saw one clip of Luffy screaming, and I was like, that's it for me. I don't need to watch this.
Before you guys got in, it was just like, you constantly got people knocking on your door, like spreading the good word of Oda. Like you were on that side of the community.
Yeah. Not even that. I growing up, we've had my cousin Nolan on the show before, and I think at one point I had expressed to him like, oh, I like anime and manga, and he was like, oh, that's kind of weird, or like that's like
when you guys
not
were,
into
middle school.
Yeah, like middle school.
Okay.
And then like out of nowhere, at one point in our like high school life, he was like, oh yeah, I'm back in it. And I'm like, what do you mean back in it? What do you mean? He's like, oh yeah, no, I watched this and I'm reading, where at the time My Hero was like at the peak of peaks in like 2016, 2015 and other series. And I was like, oh, but he really, in my memory, and he says that I'm full of shit, but in my memory, I don't remember him preaching to me about One Piece. Really at all. And really no one that I knew that was into anime and manga was talking about it. So I never had people, which is crazy because I'm that first person now to be like, you have to watch One Piece, you have to read, in other people's lives. But in my memory, I never had that.
You're one of our greatest assets to the community. If we have you on the front runner versus like me or Josh,
yeah.
I'm just like,
we're gonna be able to convert a lot more people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, please.
Like we should get a banner. We should like get like on the highway. Yeah, Megan approved. It's like, damn, she watches One Piece. That's crazy.
I'm like the vault. Like the vault boy. I was thinking about Vault.
No, what's the actual,
Rosie?
Yeah, Rosie the Riveter and shit.
Yeah. We need that. Yeah, maybe we should.
You'll be strong like me.
Yeah, we should get like a GoFundMe for like a One Piece like propaganda to get it in like Manhattan. And it's just Megan says, I'm actually thinking about this now. Like Anime NYC, like that's coming up. Billboards aren't that expensive.
That's coming up in August, isn't it?
Yes.
I want to go so bad. We're gonna pull a you and just be like, day before, like, let's go.
No, you have to.
All of our money.
There's secret things that are happening. Well, actually, no. You saw some messages.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we gotta fucking go.
I wanna go.
Yeah.
We'll be having the Volume 1 auction where we sell off our props to buy tickets.
That's true. Or we won't buy a ticket. We'll just be outside.
Or I'll do it old school, like in the fucking, like, in the movies when there's people back there with the chickens and the animals and stuff. You know what I mean? Like in the back of the plane or whatever. Like I'll jump on like some sort of cargo plane and I'll get in one of the.
Oh wow! I thought you were gonna be like underneath the plane. I'm like, you're probably not gonna
fit. Is this back to the earthquake shit?
Not what I
back to the earthquake shit, huh?
Yeah, part one.
Disrespectful. Yeah, the weight limit's gonna be all over the place if you do that. I'm just kidding.
No, but we want to go. We're gonna.
That would be so fun.
We'll see if it's doable, but we're gonna try like with everything we fucking have.
Well, because we may or may not be. Well, even if we don't have tickets to Anime Expo, like we'll just show up and be outside, like we did a year before or whatever. And it was fine. And it was fine. We got to see everyone and talk to everyone. But this year, because Anime Expo's in July, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's just like back to back,
Yeah.
The only reason to really get tickets to LA Expo if you don't have to and you want to go there is it's hot, dude. and you go inside. Actually, no, it was hotter inside, to be fair. But like, actually, no. Yeah, it was refreshing once you leave the vicinity of it, because like it's hot in California and people aren't used to that. It might get like intoxicating inside the venue, which is crazy because it's the most spacious venue. But
I just have FOMO, dude. When I saw you guys out there,
I have heavy, the heaviest FOMO.
dude,
out there, like you guys were in like I don't even know, like on a patio or something. You guys were all talking, like having a debate.
Yeah.
Having a good time.
Yeah, having fun.
Meeting Emily.
Yeah, getting to talk with like fucking, Emily and just all the other creators. Like the East
It's
Coast
always
creators
fun
that we haven't like met in person yet. Like we met obviously you in person.
Yeah.
We met Cole in person. But like Hidden, Cole, I mean not Cole, Kev, like there are just so many other East Coast people that we just have to pick it.
Kev Dog in the chat. Imagine seeing the ParVision in real life. My voice is absolutely shot. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's gonna be like that and more this year. This year's gonna be crazy, and it's happening in August, which is wild because, like Mecha Troy said, plus sweaty weebs, which I want. Like, there's like conventions aren't that weird. People don't smell that bad, but like, if it's New York City in August.
Everyone's gonna smell
Not
bad
just weebs, yeah.
because it's everyone. You can't help it. I've been to New York during that time before. I've been in New York maybe like 2 or 3 times, and New York in the summer is a different type of fucking heat, bro. We get dry heat in California.
Yeah.
We get like stagnant heat. They get humidity up the ass. And it's like if you're traveling, especially like obviously in the subways and stuff, it's so fucking hot.
And humidity and cosplay do not go together.
No.
Yeah.
No, that's why I feel bad. I'm like, why would they change it up?
I don't know.
I think everyone is trying to compete with Anime Expo, like back to back, like a month apart. Even the one that we go to, which is Anime Riverside, they changed it to June when it used to be, I think, in like May.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, you guys, like, what is going on here?
Because I hadn't gone to conventions before, which if you guys are in the chat, you guys know that I highly recommend coming because you get like, it's just so much fun. It's not even about the convention. It's just meeting up with people that love what you love. And it's like a meeting, like I met so many people I met first time there, not even viewers of mine or like whatever, but they knew One Piece. I knew One Piece. It's like, even if they were just anime fans, not even that, they're like, talking about cosplay, talking about like whatever's happening there. It's one of the greatest feelings, and you don't get much of that. And it's like a lot of us congregated around this space in general for that reason, to talk to like-minded people. And it's literally that, and you find out that they're real and not weird and not smelly, as long as the city allows it. But like, and so when
that's the thing, and
knock
on wood, everybody we've met and talked to at conventions, like, have been the nicest people. Like I'm talking like just like anybody. Like sometimes they know us from like our YouTube channel, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes we just strike up conversations with people, and they're always the fucking best, like coolest fucking people.
Yeah.
To talk to.
I've seen so many videos too of like just anime NYC in general, and like the vibes seem so good. Like I feel like even at Anime Expo, it's a huge con, and it just feels kind of overwhelming because of how crowded it is, and it has become in the past years. But Anime NYC, like it just, I don't know, it hits different. Every time I see it on video, I'm like, I want to be there. I want to go to there.
Well, I can't.
It looks so much fun.
With like in Cali, the difference with LA Expo, it's like at a huge convention, and the way the city's more structured, a lot of people, even we, left to a place that's like 40 minutes out or 30 minutes out from where it was. And a lot of people, when I talk to them, it's like, oh, what are you doing? And they're like 20 minutes that way, 10 minutes that way, 30 minutes that way. And then LA traffic, not that it's worse than Manhattan, it's just bad, but like it just doesn't, like I drove Cole through it, and we were just like, yo, why are these people so bad at like managing the traffic? They have like 6 lanes to do with this and less people, somehow there's still traffic. Whatever, it's fine, doesn't make sense, you just got to deal with it. But but the one thing that was it LA? I feel like yeah. When I was there, I was trying to meet up with my friend, and there was like a whole section that was blocked off because there was like a shooting, and I found out afterwards. I was just driving by where there was like this crazy police presence. I'm like, what is happening? This does not happen in the city like this.
Welcome to LA.
Yeah. And but in in Manhattan, it's like you get the trickle effect when you get all thousands of the people come in, and then from like if you walk even 10 blocks away, you'll still see people cosplaying. You'll see all the restaurants have taken over. Everybody loves it. I took everybody to like a few restaurants, and we could just like see like, oh, they're from the expo, blah blah, they're from thing. And it's funny too, because like the place that I went to, the lady knows me at least, and she was memeing on all the other people. They're like, oh, what are you, what's this straw hat? She knows all stuff, and she's just like laughing, and everyone's like, I don't think she knows. And she's been here for like before our parents were born, and she knows. Like, yeah, she's just like, oh, what is that straw hat? Oh, Goofy. Oh, and it's like so funny because they all know, everybody in the city, like they know anime. They just, and it's so funny to see all the different like personalities interacting with anime, even if they don't personally do with it. They have to interact with so much anime because the convention's there.
Yeah.
Kev Dog probably remembers. Dax was upset, but she was memeing on Dax way too hard. But
yeah.
But yeah. But that's a story for another time.
We'd be in full cosplay. We'd be like, what the?
Yeah.
It was so funny. Even like meeting up with everyone and talking to everyone, like we're just full like Crocodile and Miss All Sunday, and we're just like, yeah,
yeah, that was.
We're
cool.
here.
Yeah. Sorry, I know it happens in the city. What I'm saying is that the way it happened in LA was just different. Like it felt like in New York, you could be driving by the most heinous crime scene and you just never know. But you'd see like 1,000 police presence there, and then you'd be like, it could be a homeless guy or it could be like a murder case. Like you don't know. In LA, it's like I was just driving by, and then there was just like a random dude who wasn't even looking like a cop, just in the middle of the night, just like pointing. I'm like, am I gonna get robbed right now? Like I'm in a rental, and like, and he's like, he like pointed under, like, and there's a badge. I'm like, you couldn't be. Where's the flashing lights? What's happening right now? And it was like 6 blocks. And when I met up with my friend, I was just like, is this normal? He's like, yeah, they just kind of close down roads and you don't ever really know. And I'm like, oh, okay,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, LA sucks.
Yeah.
Sucks.
It's interesting. I mean, the only time we ever go out there, and me just like personally, is for like Anime Expo. Like I really never go out there. I have friends that live out there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh damn, this is.
Yeah, you live by the famous people airport. The one I was
airport.
Yeah, the one I flew out of, you know?
That's where you fly into.
That's what made it a famous person's airport.
Yeah.
Because parks came in and out.
Yeah.
They
Almost
took
caused an
pictures. They're like
earthquake too.
Paparazzi.
Yeah, just like Josh, we started earthquakes, right?
Oh, I guess so, dude. Yeah.
But let me get to these super chats, and then we'll hop back into some One Piece stuff, and then oh yeah, and then wait, I asked if you guys had any prepared any questions, if we still had that stuff. If not, it's fine. I know it's like short notice for me. Yeah. Let me pull it up. I just felt bad because I know like the schedule changed, and then like I was like, oh damn, I told them to prepare for this, and I feel bad if I made you guys do that, and then it didn't end up asking you guys. So but real quick,
no, it's all good.
Terrence Matthews with a $2 super chat says, "Tell Megan I said she looks beautiful," which, you know,
Terrence.
Shout out Terrence.
Terrence, thank you so much.
Appreciate you, Terrence. Gio with $2 super chat says, "I'm just here for Megan's ruthless takedown of Sanji." And I don't know if it went through twice, but he super chatted that again, which, damn. Do you have like a standalone video? Where maybe you should have a standalone video on your channel.
I mean, maybe I should.
I mean, at this point,
maybe I should. Yeah. I just made some points like on the Reverie. I just said that like against Sanji because it was obviously trying to defend Zoro, but I just essentially said the last time Zoro had a crush on a child was when he was one himself. And I said period. And just think about that, Par. Think about that. That's very interesting.
I know we had the Twitter thing on it. I think it was like Hidden Island retweeted too. I would like, my biggest defense for that movie thing is Oda didn't write that. Oda did not write that. That was a different director. And when you look at that director, their
But
resume.
everybody wants to say that Oda uses the movies to test ideas and test things, and even though they're not canon,
No,
there
but,
are
but
things
when you look at the director of that movie, and you look at what the other he writes rom-coms for children. That's why. So it's like
okay, all
all of his stuff is like Love X Yuki, 3. And I'm like, okay, this dude just can't do without like this weird love triangle
Interesting.
stuff. Yeah.
Interesting.
So
But that's not his first offense. We see it again in Egghead. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, you guys. And I'm not trying to like come at anyone. It's just like factual. This is what happened. This is the truth. That's it.
You make that video. I'll try to be Oda's lawyer. I'll see how much I can do.
Okay, yeah.
I try.
Oh man, it's just like damn,
That'd
dude.
be so funny.
It's just damn, dude.
It's like we had Par in as like we did a video and we like it's like a court case.
Yeah.
And Par's the defense or the lawyer. Yeah.
I would do that. We could do that. I'm down for that.
That shit would be so funny.
Yeah. Then we got Brandon King with the $2 super chat says, "What do you guys think will happen with York?"
Ooh.
I don't know, man. I for a long time I was in the camp of York joining Blackbeard or the Blackbeard crew.
I'll be right back.
But with what we saw recently, it doesn't look like they're scooping anybody up, So I don't know, man. I mean, we've talked about it before too. Like we're both, I think, going back and forth on whether or not it could even be a situation where any Vegapunk, any satellite could leave that island because they would all have that knowledge, unless something happened and they were cut off from the punk records or whatever. Like unless they were cut off from that information, because it would be kind of convenient if they were just traveling with someone who knew all of these things. But I guess at the same time, they are on their way to Elbaf, which is the place where all those books are, and they're going to have a lot of that information anyway. But I just mean, like, from even a technological standpoint, I mean, it would just like take away from, I think, even Frankie to have somebody like a Vegapunk, like on the like people had said like Lilith for Straw Hat and all these things. I just don't know what's going to happen to any of them. And I almost feel like it would be cleaner if something happened that made it so that none of them left that island. Mm-hmm. Even though it seems like Lilith is like on her way with everybody else to head out. I don't know. I don't know. And so York, she might be able to weasel her way into the situation, because I think it's more it's the stakes are a little higher if York joined like either the Blackbeard Pirates or the Gorosei or something. If they had like a Vegapunk on their side, that would give them sort of an edge. But man, I like, as of recent events, like I don't know where I fall anymore.
Yeah.
On like what she's gonna do.
I do find it interesting with York's situation, where it's like they left York behind in the labo phase in the building, and which is interesting because York is one of the objectives of the world government. They want York. So they left one of their objectives in labo phase. But then we also see when York sees, like, does it take a rocket scientist to figure out that the giant bird is probably the Gorosei? Like, I don't know. The voice is probably the same voice. Lucci was able to piece it together pretty quickly. So is York dumber than Lucci? I don't know. York has been speaking directly to these guys for months and can't, and she's like freaking out, just leave me alone, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, it's very interesting with York in the first place, where it's like, this is the exact position that she would want to be in. She's not with the Straw Hats. The Straw Hats aren't killing her. And the Gorosei guy is right there. And she freaks out. And they left her there. So it's like, I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what Oda's going to do with York, despite having a video about what Oda's going to do with York. But like in the scope of this conversation, when you put that scene into perspective, it's like, York, weird. I don't know. What about you, Megan? What do you think?
Hmm. Hmm.
Dang, this is
Interesting.
a rare response
It
for
is.
Megan.
I'm sorry. I don't know. It is. Because I really can't think of where she fits in. I mean, I see Doran Ross. Shout out to Doran Ross in the chat, saying they need York to create the mother flame, right?
Yeah.
And that could be true. I mean, it is true, I guess. But is she making it off the island? Like,
That's what I was saying. Like I do
I
think
don't
like
know. I
because
don't
obviously
know.
they need the Gorosei need Vegapunk, right? To
Yes,
do certain things.
but
But if she was to make it off the island, I I mean, I don't know, man. I like the idea in my own mind that they would be cut off from because like Punk Records is what's tethering them to all of that knowledge.
mhm.
If Egghead gets destroyed, if Punk Records gets destroyed, then will that knowledge get destroyed with it? Then how valuable would someone like York be?
Not.
Then how valuable would any of them be?
No.
You know, because all they would have is I don't even know what
And
they
that
would.
could have been a foresight from Vegapunk, from the Stella himself. Like you were saying, Par, like, predicting events. Like if York was going behind their back, like I don't know that she would be able to. I don't know that they didn't have any idea
Right,
that she was the traitor.
Because you're
So,
saying if they allowed her to do that,
mhm,
Par, then they would. I would assume they would have a contingency in place for her as well.
mhm,
Yeah, and think about how we came back into the situation in like chapter 1089 where they had York calling the Gorosei under the volition of the Straw Hats. The Straw Hats had her hostage and had her do that. So it's like they were trying to fish information. They were using York as a pawn in that moment. So
mhm.
why would the buck stop there? Why wouldn't there was set up to that moment that Oda disguised for us. We don't know what planning they had, but they sat there and like, let's have her call whoever on the ship and see what's up. And then it seemed like in that moment, I think Nami said like, I'm starting to piece things together now after York had spoken to the Gorosei. So it seemed like they used York strategically. So why would that stop when they're escaping? They know that York is the mission. They literally said, hey, let them stop surrounding us on the island. Let's leave. Like there's a strategy towards this, and the Straw Hats are notorious for messing up strategy, but we're with the smartest man. We have Nami, we have Usopp, we had Shaka, we had all these players that constantly make up plans. Frankie makes plans, all these characters. We had Dressrosa, the I forgot the name of the plan. Every arc there's like a certain plan. I don't know why this arc would be the outlier in that regard. And I feel like York being left while being an objective, while being a Vegapunk, while okay, so here's another nuance that I talk about in the video that we finally fully understand is that York could not kill Vegapunk. We don't know necessarily why, but we can partially surmise that, hey, maybe York knew that there was a dead man switch. If York had killed the Stella originally, that means that this call goes out to the rest of the world. York can't let that happen. But why isn't the flip like possible? Why can't Stella just kill York after they fish the information? If the world government wants York, then why isn't her life? I'm not saying the Straw Hats need to do it, but surely Vegapunk has some kind of like control over his literal clones. I mean, he didn't even seem that upset that like Atlas passed away. Yeah, they want to heal or whatever. They don't seem that upset about Shaka passing away or Pythagoras. Like Lilith was like, crying, but what about the rest of the reaction? They don't even seem that upset that Stella passed away. Where a lot of people are confused about that whole interaction. So like a lot of my videos kind of rationalizing maybe there's something interesting going on, but that doesn't apply to York's situation, where it's just like York was the traitor. York was killing satellites. York is literally like their not even weakest link. York is their access into Mother Flame, into the defectors, into the traitors. Like, why can't Stella do anything against York other than leave York to be picked up like a baby by this bird, this stork looking ass, Gorosei? So it's like,
Yeah.
it's pretty interesting what Oda did with York in that situation, for sure.
And it's like the same thing that we kind of saw in even the Pacifistas, right? Like there was a fail safe. There was like Bonnie had the ultimate authority, right? And so I feel like even in the satellites there would be something similar, so that Vegapunk himself is never used, like the Gorosei never use him against himself, I guess, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like if he did it with, and it could be a thing where like, because it seems like the pacifistas are going to just be a non-threat after this. Like they're kind of maybe all going to be wiped out here in this battle. I don't know, but like, I mean, it could be that the satellites are as well. I'm a sucker for, you know, that moment in like a story where like they're all getting on the ship, you know, and they're like, "Oh, come on, Lilith, come on," and she's like, "I can't."
I can't leave this place.
You know, I just I don't know. I don't see a world where any of them really get off the island.
No, I don't either.
There, you know, my last video partially is an idea, and we can sort of touch on that because it catches us up to like more Egghead discussion, and then we can segue out of these super chats. Just a few more things, which is Love X Uzi rated this on Twitch side, so appreciate you. Sorry I didn't get to shout that earlier. My Twitch kind of crashed, and you know, entire computer crashed and stuff like that. But I appreciate you nonetheless. Real quick, Street Shadow, $10 super chat. Appreciate you. Said, just to say, as an LA person, you are right, but you have to get away from the areas like downtown, Marina del Rey, Santa Monica, Manhattan Beach. Everything on the west side is much more chill, and that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah.
It's just like, as a tourist, I wanted K barbecue, and so I obviously went through all the scary places apparently in the middle of the night.
Yeah, Santa Monica, Venice, that's a whole nother level of hell out there, dude. Dante's Inferno and shit.
Yeah, you may or may not be learning about it through Diddy's story, but there's a lot of other characters that frequent those areas, you know.
And Diddy, who also made an appearance in the Agenda Reverie, by the way.
Oh, yo. Yeah, Sean, it's the dude put the full government name in his YouTube title or YouTube name. That's crazy. Yeah, Nickelodeon and Diddy be collabing. You know, that's an actual thing, right?
Up.
Diddy used to be in Dan Schneider's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't he in an episode of like All That or something?
Like I remembered it. Then so as soon as the Diddy stuff dropped,
he was with like Amanda Bynes and Drake Bell. I literally think it was the both of them in the sketch.
It's not as weird when you put into scope the entire show brought on like all like rappers, Usher, stuff like that. But he was in the 7th season, which is the same season. Which, if you guys have watched Quiet on Set, there's a specific individual. I'm not gonna like name more of these names, but there's a specific individual that Drake Bell calls out, and is the like premise of the entire thing. He comes into that season of that Diddy is in, and it's like, yo, all these stars are aligning for some crazy ass. And if you guys want to know, like one of the craziest thing, Diddy shows up in the thing, and he's acting like he's bringing up a new rapper. The new rapper in the skit is Lil Fetus. That's the rapper. Yeah. And and they don't talk about it in Quiet on Set, but the guy who's Little Fetus, that he references that scene as one of the most traumatizing things, where he's like dressed up in a unitard, and like Diddy uses an ultrasound on a lady, and he's just in. I'm like, what is happening? This is a crazy
like. Why
thing.
is what even is this show?
Yeah.
What even is this joke, bro?
I think it's important for people to watch, because that's my biggest. I talk about in the 50/50 like last year so much. That's why I hate it when people say anime is weird for all these things. I'm like, I'd much rather have cartoon kids than kid actors, because that should just be abolished given our track record. It's just terrible. And but you know, that's enough about LA and Florida and you know, those the various places where people frequent, you know. But going back to private islands like Egghead, you know, where you know, also experimentation on Sarah. No, we're not gonna talk about that.
I was like, what connection are you making right now?
I actually have a video where I started writing it. I'm like, this is a Vegapunk hit piece. Like this is straight up everyone's gonna hate
That's
Vegapunk.
crazy.
Because Vegapunk was straight up like he was torturing King. Like King should have a quiet on set story, bro.
True. Boy,
Like
you're
King is
Josh is done.
King in Wano shows up in a gimp suit, dude, and we go back in his backstory and he's tortured by Vegapunk, and Vegapunk talking
Yeah.
about it like
As a
Shaka's
child.
Shaka's like, oh, that must
As
have
a
been
child.
Albert. And I'm like, don't use
Interesting.
his-
Leave it to Par. To
Interesting
make
how
that,
the Seraphim are all children.
That's the connection he was about to make. He was saying private island experiments on children. He was comparing Vegapunk to Epstein and shit over here. Damn.
Yo, and look at Caesar. Look at what happened after Caesar took the script and went crazy with it. And then Vegapunk just is like, oh, I can fix that. I literally have a script where I sat with it and I was like,
Okay,
I don't
now it
think-
needs to come out.
I don't know if I need to do this. Like this is the energy that exists. Oda wrote it, but like, do I need to put? I don't know. But Vegapunk needs. I mean, like,
Even in the, especially in the anime too, sometimes Vegapunk, man, he does some real questionable, like the way he reacts to things, the way he just kind of like moves his body.
He's unsettling.
He's a little unsettling.
uncanny.
Yeah.
He's a little uncanny. Yeah.
so bringing it back a little bit to a more sane place. Off brand with the 2 last super chat says, do you think Luffy will use Nika weapons? Love y'all. That's kind of, I'm imagining talking about like the bat and like, if Kid pulls out a railgun, can Luffy be like, I want that, and then pulls out like a Nika version? Do you guys see something like that?
I mean,
Absolutely.
100%. Anything. Literally anything's possible with Nika. I think there's no cap.
He pulls out
To
a
the
sword.
potential.
He sees
Oh.
Mihawk's sword. He's like, that's cool.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
the world's strongest swordsman now.
I mean, he might have to do something like he did with the bat, where he just like grabs a tree or grabs something around him. Like maybe it won't be able to just like manifest out of nothing, but I mean, what he's doing is essentially that. At the end of the day, he could just like, I mean, I'm thinking of like really goofy shit, but he could like draw something on a piece of paper and then pull it out of the piece of paper or something. You know what I mean? Like he could do
Yeah.
anything. He could do anything.
Yeah, it's an interesting place with where Luffy's at. Luffy is in a place where it's like we don't know the ceiling, and I don't know if Oda wants a ceiling. I think Oda wants sky's the limit, and the sky is never ending for Oda, and Luffy is going to just laugh through it. I think people have. It's crazy how well timed the anime is. You guys are caught up with it. I haven't watched the last 3, but obviously I know what happens in it. I seen
You need
most
to
of
watch
the stuff. I watched the last one.
So good.
But the point that I'm trying to make is like people are like, oh, Luffy's too goofy, blah blah. My God, guys, watch how Luffy's depicted. He is terrifying always.
Yeah.
Like, Lucci, I think if Lucci was on Twitter and he saw people saying Luffy's too goofy, he's not moving me, I can't get, it's not serious fight, I think Lucci would disagree. I think Lucci would be like, are you fighting Luffy right
Luffy?
now?
And the shot where you see Luffy with his eyes red is through like Lucci's perspective. It's like through his eyes.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not a third person. It's literally like Luffy.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Like-
of course, I have been on that train of like, this is right when Gear 5 was like introduced. Even in the manga, I was like, this is scary.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this is scary. Like you guys don't understand how scary this is to the opponent.
That's what I was gonna say. Like if this is someone that we're rooting for, it's like, oh, this is fun, this is silly. But if that man was your enemy, if you were in a
You're not laughing.
in
It's
a
not funny.
fight,
It's
yeah,
not
and
goofy.
someone could just like
Mm-mm.
turn inanimate objects into weapons and was like fucking with the laws of reality. That shit
smacking
would be
his
scary
ass
as
in
fuck.
front of you, like,
I love that.
Yeah.
The recoil?
yeah,
Come on
dude's
now.
making earthquakes literally, dude.
Come on now.
Yeah, and that's why, like, I get it, bro. But like, the people who say that, I mean, it's personal preference. You like what you like, but I mean, you should have been able to see something like this coming since the beginning of One Piece. Like,
yeah.
something that embodies
Well, I mean, even from the beginning, he does silly things. He was doing silly things already. He was stretching his arms and becoming a balloon man. I mean, these are things that have already been in the story. Luffy himself is, not a serious character. So I just think it fits the story perfectly. Again, preferences are preferences, but yeah, I totally agree. Like, this was already kind of in place. Obviously, it was in place because we had no idea, but it was in place because of his already canon abilities throughout the story.
I love it, dude. I fucking love it. Make it more goofy. Make it the most goofy. That's what I say.
Yeah, and like now you can like look at the Kizaru scenes and recontextualize it a little bit and be like, yo, when he's laying down, he's like his mindset's like, I'm not paid for this, bro. Like, what am I fighting right now?
Literally.
I mean, me and Megan were talking about that in the episode.
We're always talking about that. I was like, I forgot. I think it was like a Kainu, and he was like behind the desk, and he was like talking to like his, I don't know who were they. Who were the characters? I forgot in the episode. He was talking to some other, his other members, and it was just like, bro, it's so funny. Like pirates, like that's how they live their lives. They're just living their lives, doing shit. But that's their job.
The Marines, they're clocking
They clock in, clock out. Like they get
Yeah.
paid for this shit. Like it's so funny to me because like your work like isn't necessarily your life. And for some of them it is, but pirates are just living, and these fools, it's just a job.
Yeah.
Like when you think about it,
Yeah, it's crazy. And another thing we were talking about too was that like seeing that episode, that Lucci versus Luffy, like put into perspective, like not only like just that fight as a whole, but like how powerful, how strong like Lucci has become.
People are like, oh, you're fucking like beat, like you wouldn't even call. He's like, someone said like, oh, I wouldn't even call that a fight. Like Lucci was just trying to like,
Yeah, he didn't touch Luffy, blah blah blah.
survive.
Yeah.
But it shows.
But bro, he was standing. I mean, he was like in that entire episode, right? Like he didn't get knocked out immediately. He didn't get taken out immediately. I'm not saying that Lucci is like fucking crazy, the most powerful person,
Cracked.
in One Piece. But I'm saying like I recognized. I feel like I better understood where he was at after watching that fight.
Yeah.
Like for me personally, it was easier for me to understand.
Anime Lucci is definitely greater than manga Lucci in my opinion, but the takeaway of like Lucci's not a slouch and we shouldn't have thought that at all, and Luffy is terrifying, like period. That should be the feeling. It's like
For real.
when you start moving the pictures from manga to anime, there's no way that Luffy would not be terrifying to everybody in the series.
Yeah.
Like
no.
Like Kizaru was looking at Sanji kick light and be like, all right, that's just not physically possible. How is he looking at Luffy then, dude? Like
I'm just saying Kizaru was fucking trying to run out the clock on Gear 5. Like, because that wasn't his objective. That's not what he was there to do. But like Lucci was gunning for Luffy.
Oh, everyone on his team was like, don't do it, Lucci.
And he was
like,
getting rocked.
Lucci
was getting rocked. But like at the same time, he was getting back up.
Yeah. It's definitely an interesting conversation, but I love that the anime is so well timed with these discussions where it's just like, no, it's scary. Yep, no, it's serious. This is definitely scary to deal with. And then there's all the other conversations where it's like, is this your MC? Blah 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 blah. So, yeah. Luffy is that. But
is that supposed to be a diss? Is that supposed to be a fucking burn?
Why?
Because yes, he is. I'm sorry, dude. I love all kinds of anime. I love all kinds of characters, and Luffy is a character that I have not seen exist in other stories. Like that's what makes fucking stories good, bro. Because Lelouch is Lelouch, and Luffy is Luffy, and Guts is Guts. And yes, this is my MC. So I mean, read more. I mean, to those
read more. Damn, that's so crazy.
You illiterate, Josh, just say it. Just say they're illiterate scum, can't use their eyeballs, like short-term memory, goldfish brain, like go in.
Oh my God, he's going in.
I just hate that argument. People always make that argument. It's too goofy. I don't even think those people are real One Piece fans. I think they're imposters. I think they're freaking Among Us fools that are trying to
They're
stir
Twitter
the pot.
Among Us fools. No, I think that people enjoy enjoy different aspects of story. I think that people enjoy One Piece, which is kind of interesting for like the power scaling like aspect of it. Other people enjoy obviously the lore and the themes and everything that it goes into it. But again, yeah, everyone enjoys it differently. But that's to say, like, this is the main character of the story. Like, just respect him. That's all. That's all we ask. I
Yeah.
respect Naruto.
Mhm.
I respect Boruto.
I don't respect Naruto. I'm just kidding. Naruto. That's my nostalgia right there. That was my first love.
Naruto.
Yeah.
I respect Ichigo.
Yeah.
All the toes.
All the
All the
toes.
toes.
So respect Luffy.
All the
Okay.
So speaking of different series, actually, my last video was about a completely different series. It was a One Piece collab with another series, and I don't know if you guys, I don't think you guys saw it. So I think the connection would surprise you. I want to be really quick about it, so I'll tell you as fast as possible. But
Okay.
you guys were talking about it earlier, which is why I wanted to bring it up, was the idea that Vegapunk gets off the island. And one of the cool ideas that me and Sai had for the longest time was that I don't know if you guys remember, there was like a random introduction box for this recycle dog. It was called Recycle Cur at the very beginning of chapter 1064. Is with Atlas, and then Oda put a narrator box with it. So it's called Recycle Collie if you guys want to like see it just in case. But and
I already know what you're going with Goddard and Jimmy Neutron right now.
Yeah, exactly that. Where we were basically laughing at without the Jimmy Neutron stuff, we were talking about the idea that it'd be funny because at the time it's like, what is Vegapunk without the Punk Records? And it's like, what if he gets recycled by this dog and he leaves Punk Records and then he's like literally just a dog that like has the instincts of a smart guy, which is what they were talking about. You can't remove the desires and instincts of like living creatures. So what if he's in this dog, he becomes the pet of the Straw Hats or Neo-Mads or something, and he's still like the world's smartest person and whatever. But then we were like, Goddard from Jimmy Neutron. But then I made an entire video, so my last video, 30 minutes, all connections of Egghead to Jimmy Neutron. So Goddard, sure, dog, robotic dog. And you could probably wonder, is that why Par brought up Doctor Who? Because Doctor Who has a canine, a bunch of dogs that are with like the assistant to the doctor, the smart doctors, whatever. I was actually gonna ask you
There's an episode with dogs? You never show me that shit.
K9 is a companion that is like a little robot dog. Like
I've never seen that shit.
But that exists. Remember we were talking about OG Who and New Who. That was
that's
OG.
Who. Is it cute? Is
and
robot dog?
K9 has made, I think, a cameo in New Who, but like hasn't been a permanent companion for a while.
Yeah.
Literally, speaking of dogs, I'm trying to get my dog to stop
wrangle
eating a carpet. That's why I keep trying to whistle and interrupt. But continue, Bar. Continue.
No, you're just whistling because the theory's so good, right? No,
Oh, good.
But yeah, so the canine thing, I didn't know that, but someone commented and I was like, that makes more sense for Oda to have made a reference from Doctor Who, like a smart doctor guy, all this stuff, bring it into One Piece, making some kind of reference. But here's the other reference to Jimmy Neutron. So like both of you guys probably have seen or all of Jimmy Neutron or some of Jimmy Neutron, I'm sure, right?
Yeah,
bro, shit.
You watch all of it?
I used to fucking love Jimmy Neutron.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of Jimmy Neutron.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just breeze through. So the video could be quick, but I had to literally marinate how insane this was. So like obviously Jimmy Neutron came out like later on, but the Jimmy Neutron was a series that came from a pilot movie in 2001. So 2001, that movie is a movie about an alien race that is eggs. Their entire space race is these.
That's what they made the other movie about, right? Like the first like theatrical Jimmy Neutron movie was that.
Yeah, it was a giant egg island thing or planet that they go to. So advanced race living in eggs. That's the first movie. And they, I talk about the giant egg on Egghead, that connection, but it's kind of like mysterious. I talk about more of the egg in a different video later on. But So that's crazy. The giant egg, cool. Same thing. Funny part is that to resurrect the egg, they steal parents and they go in a circle and do like a dance. They do a chicken dance, which I was like, Nika dance, God. They resurrected God. There's a giant egg. Cool, all this stuff. Advanced race. That was 2001, but that movie was a pilot from 1995. Originally, it was known as Johnny Quasar, which I don't know if you remember when Vegapunk was introduced. He randomly says Quasar.
Quasar. He says Quasar a lot.
Yeah, and we're like, why doesn't he say that more often? It's not a laugh. It's not like an end. It's not like when like Hercules said to Usopp, like Usopp Un, he literally says Quasar. So it's like, why does he do that? And then we find out that Johnny Quasar was it won awards for the like first CGI engine used for like Star Trek, for Babylon 5, Battlestar Galactica, like Avatar, the blue people one, it's the thing's called Lightwave. And so Johnny Quasar was this used in the demo. So all the studios had gotten this demo of like just this random boy. And you look at Vegapunk's head shape real quick and you realize wait a second, Vegapunk's head shape is really unique. No, it's not. It's from Jimmy Neutron. That's Jimmy Neutron's head shape. And
almost exactly.
Now Stella,
and I would know because I've been called Jimmy Neutron before.
Oh, okay.
I've been compared. I've been compared to him.
Okay.
Not for being smart.
Weird flex,
no, not for being smart.
Yeah, it kind of sounded like a flex.
Not for being smart.
For a second.
And then Stella has this weird failure. Like he keeps, like, everything he does is a failure. Many times throughout Egghead, he's failed on the Momo fruit. He's failed on the lightsaber. He's failed on certain devil fruits, like he can't make the Logia. With Kuma, he hasn't properly wiped his thing. He's confused about that. Literally introduces like, oh man, I guess this is another failure. And that is a character, Professor Calamitous, from Jimmy Neutron, whose entire shtick is he always fails because he doesn't quite complete his things. And that is 1-to-1 almost with Vegapunk. Now, one up that. Hey, Vegapunk has 6 clones, each with different personalities. A reoccurring thing in Jimmy Neutron is Jimmy Neutron needed more things done, so he cloned himself 6 times, and each one had a different personality, and one of them was an evil Jimmy Neutron who betrayed him and was a traitor and said there only can be one Jimmy Neutron, so he makes his own world, and he talks to alien races, and he acts...
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Bro.
And there's a few other things, like, you know, Vegapunk's devil fruit is his brain keeps on expanding because he infinitely remembers everything. That's an entire episode of Jimmy Neutron where Sheen gets basically Vegapunk's devil fruit, his brain grows super big, he becomes Mega Sheen, and you look at Sheen's hairline, it's the same as
remember that
Vegapunk's. And I could go on and on, but that's an entire video. But the point was, and I like Sai's synthesis was like, I wonder if Vegapunk's tongue is a nuanced thing of like, maybe he's meant to be in a dog because his tongue is wagging just like Goddard. Goddard always has that wagging tongue thing. And so if you were to end up in this Recycle Cur dog and he ends up off of the island with the Strats, which again, why would Oda give us narrator box for this dog? And the longer we go without this dog showing up, in this stage of Egghead, where they're going by, they have to pass where the dog is, kind of sus that there's this many connections to this series. And I put up more into that video, but
wow,
yeah
everybody thought that the tongue was a reference to Albert Einstein, but maybe Goddard is the reference to Albert Einstein and Vegapunk is a reference to Goddard.
Cracked.
It's cracked, Par. It's absolutely out of control,
cracked.
dude. And the moment you started making the connections, even when you said Jimmy Neutron, I immediately, of course, you know, it's iconic. The head shape is so similar. How did we not put this together?
It's kind of wild. And I like, Oda has referenced other series so many times. Like he even admitted in the SBS he accidentally referenced a puppet show that his sister used to watch, and he has kids. I'm like, it wouldn't be crazy if his kids watched Jimmy Neutron. Jimmy Neutron did air in Japan with Japanese dubs. In fact, Sheen originally was supposed to be a Japanese character, and so but they
really?
Yeah, he was apparently they couldn't find. I don't know, this sounded weird. Like they couldn't find a Japanese voice actor for the thing, so they just made him Sheen Estevez later on, but he was supposed to be Japanese, so that was a weird,
interesting.
Yeah, weird thing. But yeah, that was, there's just a
Oh.
fun last video for you guys. And the whole point of the video is just like, hey, Egghead's in a weird spot, and here's a weird connection with like 1,000 different connection points. Have fun with it. You guys think of. I didn't even put like a full theory endpoint in it. I was just like, if you guys like Jimmy Neutron, think about it like this. If you guys didn't know about Jimmy Neutron, maybe go watch some of these. And I rewatched it for the video, and I was like, these episodes are actually really good. Like, I kind of
Bro,
like
I
them.
remember when Jimmy Neutron came out, like my mind was blown at the fact that they were able to do that kind of animation in
Yeah.
a TV show.
Yeah.
At the time, that was crazy.
It was the next level.
Professor Calamitous. Second episode he's in. This is his like main episode. It's called the Egg Heist. Where
I'm looking him up right now. I want to see. I want to remember this guy.
Where he's stealing
Calamity.
an egg.
Calamitous.
He's stealing an egg from an ancient
Oh
race
yeah.
that the egg has a dynamic power that isn't possible in modern times. It's the same thing as like
Bro, what
Lucia.
the fuck?
Yeah, it's kind of wild.
What
Professor
the
Calamitous is
fuck?
like, if you combine Jimmy Neutron, Goddard, and Professor Calamitous into one character, it's Vegapunk.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Vegapunk.
Yeah. Oh, and Goddard has
Insane.
like a plasma brain too, like kind of like separating
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
what would be necessary on Egghead. So
Holy shit. Now that's a theory I could fucking get behind right there.
as opposed to my other theories.
As opposed to Mihawk is a sword,
What?
as
Not
opposed
you
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Sai
I'm getting you.
Sai literally said the exact same thing. He's just like, you locked in with this theory. The Mihawk is a sword I could never get behind. I was like, come on, dude.
That's so funny.
No, this shit is you're onto something here, bro.
No.
This is big.
I know you guys said that you had to go around now, so there was just two more super chats. I want to let you know something about Sai before we go, because I was telling you a secret thing about him, and it'll be fun for if you guys like end up collabing with him or we collab all together some way. And I think this is true of Josh only because I saw his YouTube recommended, but anyways, I'll get to that in a second. Retrobat.
How did you see that?
With the 6 months visionary, appreciate you. Said the Jimmy Neutron movie is a fever dream. It really is. It really is. If you guys haven't watched the movie, it's one of my favorite movies. It has it had Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, Britney Spears. So one of my other favorite songs, I think like the Jonas Brothers covered it. It had Aaron Carter. Like these are like if anybody knows like the 90s, like these were like creme of the crop kind of people.
Oh yeah.
I don't even know. And that movie was the pilot. That it was there was no series yet. They funded it because of the movie, and yet they had all those people on the thing. It was wild. And then
that's crazy.
Baby Pluto with the 22 months joining as a visionary. I appreciate you. It says listen to 3-Day, like to stream. Thank you. We're gonna start wrapping things up, and if you guys haven't checked out volume 1, you guys are missing out. 3-Day's linked a bunch of our streams already together. We've collabed in the past. They got a lot more stuff going on than I do. So another thing that I've said to both Sai and Josh is Josh and Sai are so similar, it's kind of scary. They both roasted me in the exact same psychotic way separately at the same time. We're all in a group chat and they both typed the exact same message, and I looked at, I was baffled. But so the thing that I was gonna say was that you guys both watch Moist Critical, and
okay.
Yeah. And so when I came over, your YouTube recommended was just like all Moist Critical. I was like, all right, that's scary. That is so scary because Sai's favorite content creator is Moist Critical. And if you listen to him, he sounds exactly like Moist Critical. It's almost terrifying.
First of all, it's hard for Moist Critical to not be in anybody's YouTube recommendations. Let me just say that first and foremost. Second, nothing against Moist Critical, but I feel like me personally, I was getting a little fatigued. I was getting a little what's the opposite of moist? Dried out. I was getting a little dried out.
I mean,
I wasn't
that's
feeling
fair. But once I saw that and YouTube recommended it, I was like, oh my God, this makes sense. They both kind of like have a similar, like I've watched all three and I can see the evolutionary, like primal, like the ancestor. And once I saw that for Sai, I was like, bro, you literally sound like him. And Sai, like I knew he watched Philip DeFranco and Moist Critical, and I'm like, oh my God, you're a voice clone of Moist. And people say
now
that.
I will.
The Franco.
I will say that I do stand Philly D, dude. I do like to get filled in. I like to get filled up, and I like to get filled in.
Which is funny because on my shorts when I was on TikTok and thing, people thought, because my base isn't there, so they thought that Phil DeFranco was voicing my thing. And then so some of those people came into our 50-50 and they're like, this is like Moist Critical and Phil DeFranco had a podcast together. I was like, what? What?
That's so funny.
Yeah.
No, and Moist Critical, he's great, dude. But I feel like sometimes, if you, I think about that even with like what we do, because we do a lot of stuff. I feel like I go through phases with content creators where like,
oh yeah,
I'll be like really about a Moist Critical or like a Philip DeFranco or anybody. And then I'll just like kind of burn myself out because I just don't know how to do anything in moderation. And then after like a period of time, then I'll like come back to them or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just thought it'd
yeah.
be a fun connection point, bonding point for you guys to, because when I came over and I saw you two, I would like, I think you remember my reaction. I was like, oh, and you were like, what? And I was like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I just saw something.
You did. I was like, you were being low key about it. You were being secretive. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, because I saw similarly that happened with Sai, like not accidentally, we saw a thing. I was just like,
you slipped.
I was like,
It's
damn,
history.
that's a lot of Moist Critical. I was like, oh shit, you sound like, and then the comedy, the things that you guys say, oh my God, it just made so much sense. But enough on that. To close out, feel free to, I know throughout the stream you guys plugged in a bunch of stuff. Let us know if you guys had more questions, any questions to ask me or anything that's coming up. Your time.
Well,
take the stage.
First of all, we would love to have you on our Adulting in Anime series, preferably. We're gonna try. It's kind of impossible with
Me?
Little.
That's a more.
No, yeah, that is a more, and there's no such thing as little old Par. He's big old Par in all of our hearts, and we want it to be in studio if possible.
Yeah,
but we can't. There's no way to make that a reality for everybody. But since you were here once, you could be here again.
Yeah.
And we need to make it happen.
It's sad. LA Expo denied me a pass, so I'm like, damn, that's so.
Oh.
For this year or last year?
This year. I was told by everybody last year, hey, it's so easy to get it at LA Expo. And I was like, oh, okay. And then literally they just denied me, but they also denied everybody that told me that. But besides, probably not Rogers Base, because that'd be crazy if they denied Rogers Base.
Yeah, full transparency, we had to find our way in. We went through some freaking back
Well, we had
doors.
a ticket.
We had a ticket,
Yeah.
but we didn't have like a badge, like a press badge.
No.
So we were resourceful. Let's just say that.
Wait, you could just say it was Matt Owens. Oh, what?
But that's the thing. It wasn't even Matt.
I don't even know that one because everyone else was vocal about the. Cole was out here spitting. He was just like, bro, thank God for Matt Owens. And I'm like, are we supposed to be saying that out loud?
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, because it was because you got to remember, it was like at that time specifically, there was a lot of things that were up in the air because of like the things that were happening at the time. I think I don't remember when certain things were happening, like in the industry with like strikes and stuff. I don't remember the timeline of everything, but
They were still going on.
they were
Yes.
at that time.
Yes.
Yeah. So there was a point where certain things we thought we were going to be able to do, but then weren't able to do because of those things.
Yes.
Mhm.
So we had to find our own way.
Yeah.
We had to find our own way.
Resourceful. Just like
Resourceful.
the kind of talent that it takes to make that Mihawk sword and the second greatest Shakos cosplay of all time.
What? Well, don't you dare! First of all, don't you fucking dare! Because
Man.
I have yet to forgive you for that. For beating me to the punch. I thought I was ahead of the curve, dude. I thought I was gonna be the first one.
You were too late.
No one.
You were just too late. You were just too late.
No one remembers the second person to ever do anything. They always remember the first.
Of course.
Anyway.
And you haven't even worn it.
This was
You haven't even finished the cosplay yet, and you're still talking trash.
I finished the helmet.
That's what's so crazy is that you're like, it's literally only the helmet, and you have not.
Dude. I was having a good time. This was a fun stream until.
I love that video too. That shit was so funny.
Like you guys hand make at home, make all that stuff, which is like insane. Like yeah. Josh is.
I love it.
Crazy.
I wish I had more time to do that. Really, it's something that it's kind of like therapeutic to me. Honestly, I can kind of lose myself in that. But in terms of like, I'm trying to think. In terms of other things, I do want to ask. I want to like see if me and you can agree on a question. Like, what is a question that we've asked a lot of our guests that is, in your opinion, one of your favorite questions that we could ask to Par?
Ooh, I like questions.
Gosh.
And I do have that Randy preview. I don't know if I can send it to you.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Maybe we could play that.
Of crashing the
that it'll
computer.
crash.
Yeah.
That it'll crash.
Oh yeah.
Apologize.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
You know what?
Do you have a good one? Because
I was thinking about it because a lot of the questions, some of them are questions that we ask multiple times, but a lot of them we try to cater them directly to each creator. So I'm trying to think on the spot of one that's catered specifically towards ParVision. I want to maybe with Par, we could power scale OP YouTubers.
Oh my.
We could that would be a fun game. That'd be a really fun
reference point from the Agenda Reverie, so
That's true. I don't know. I can't think right now, but we'll save it for the episode. We'll save it for when we have you in studio.
I can't think of one.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But other than
go ahead. Not LA, if you guys are able to come out here, we could definitely do an IRL something.
Oh yeah,
that would be cool
nice.
too.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, what else do we got? What else do we got cooking, Megan?
I will get to Vinland Saga someday, hopefully soon on our main channel. We're covering Code Geass Season 2 on our second channel, which is Volume 1 Plus. We do weekly chapter reviews of One Piece.
It's almost back.
It's almost back. It's almost time. And we also are reacting to the Egghead anime. And we upload pretty much every episode on Patreon, uncut, unedited. But we don't upload everyone to YouTube. So if you want to see us react to the full series, then you could go to our Patreon and see all that. We have other reactions to other animes too on there, and some exclusive podcast episodes that are not up on our main channel.
That's where the one with Par's at.
That's the one where Par's at.
It's on Patreon.
It's on Patreon.
Yeah. You guys can see my was it the people were making fun of my leggings there, but I wasn't wearing leggings because they could see under the table.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
Let me hold on. I want to pull that up now.
Yeah,
but
link that. Wait, oh yeah, did I share? I forget how that one went down, but
it's on Patreon. I could share it if you want.
Yeah, I mean, you could link up anything in the chat, whatever you want. And I'll share it again too. I think I shared it earlier on my YouTube, but unfortunately the stream is making things difficult for me to live show stuff. I gotta give my computer a stern talking to after this.
I'm gonna send it right now. Hold on, let me pull up the chat. All right, Par said you guys get a freebie, something behind the paywall, an exclusive in-studio interview with ParVision that, keep in mind, happened at what time was it, Par? Like 3 or 4 in the morning?
It was like
crazy.
2 to 4 a.m. or something like that. Right before my flight, right after I had stayed up for like 30 hours straight because I flew in, did not sleep, went straight to the expo, went straight to Cole's hotel room, went straight to dinner with all the creators in Rogers Base, then went straight to the studio with Volume 1, and then straight to the airport. It was a good time. That
was legendary.
Yeah.
A fond memory.
I
man.
forget what we talked about, but we talked about a lot of crazy stuff, I feel like.
That's why I was a little hesitant, because I was like, I don't even remember what we talked about. I don't remember it at all.
Yeah.
But I shared it, and it's there.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you guys have anything else to say, feel free to take the end spot, but I do want to just ask my community, definitely go over there to support Volume 1, because I think you guys said like to power scale the One Piece YouTubers. And one thing that I would say is in terms of talent, Josh is Yonko, like legendary, like Gold Roger. Like it's insanity. The sword he made, the Shaka helmet he made, but also the art. If you guys see the art on their channel, the promos, the editing, it's crazy. Josh does that. That's him. He's doing it. And they do so much content that I'm wondering, like, does he have satellites? And he I was blown out of the water, because when I went to the studio, he's not just the art guy. My man has Vegapunk's lab right to the right of him. He was pulling out like microphones and cables that I didn't even know existed. And I'm like, do you know how this stuff works? And he's like, shut up, Mar, you're too dumb for this. and then he was out there testing new things. He was trying to get a third, like, listen, guys, my stream crashed. Like, I can't even get a picture on the screen. Josh could switch the camera to Megan, to him, back and forth. All I can do is this dumb green screen thing going on. And Josh out here is like better than what, like CNN, Fox News, like all their studio combined does not. And the other part of it is, if I'm gassing up and cooking, that's the craziest part. Their studio is in their kitchen. You can't even tell. That's how
true.
wild.
That part's true.
That part's true.
I'm not making that up. What do you mean that part's true? All of what I said is true. And even I think even the craziest part is their producer is a cat, a literal cat, and that's also not false.
He works hard though.
Yeah, and it's not just the producer; he's also the security and bouncer. He coat checked me. He checked my bag when I came in. He was in my shoes.
Park came in with a lot of bags, dude.
Yeah.
We just had to make sure.
Yeah. Shout out to Monty. But yeah, it's phenomenal. You guys, one of my I don't know, of all the metrics we could put in the One Piece YouTuber power scaling talent, you guys would be S+ tier, Yonko tier, Emu tier. You'd be Lelouching other people with how like talented. And that's something even Matt Owens was saying. Like, he was gassing us both up, and he was just like, bro, you guys are like, it's insane how like well you got. And Matt Owens has the power of Netflix, and he said that to you guys. So it's phenomenal. And if there's anything I can ask of my community, it's to go over there and support you guys so that you can have more freedom to do all the fun stuff that you guys love doing, which is like coming out to Anime NYC. And like another metric that we can use as a comparison is merch. I have merch. I have a website, theparvision.com, I think, and there's merch. It's pretty lame. Then you go to their website and it's like, why even buy from anybody else? They have a Tio Jinbei shirt, like, and that's made by Megan's. Wait, you said it was your dad who made that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
designed
commissioned him to be like, we want Jinbei in a Hawaiian shirt with Crocs on, barbecuing at the cookout, and he was like, you got it.
Yeah, he's super talented too, her dad.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of talent. There's secret talent to Josh's lore too. I don't know if Josh has ever shared it on his channel, but that's not my story to tell. But I heard it and I was like, wow.
Here, I'm gonna share this Theo Jinbei link with everybody too, just in case.
Definitely go for it. When I saw their merch the first time, I was like, I need Josh. I need Volume 1's power on my side. Oh my god, you guys have code Gias merch?
We have it. It's like
yeah.
our art, but I want to update our art because when I drew it originally, I based like the base for me is like Suzaku.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anything about Suzaku before.
But now you got pissed off by him.
Yeah. So now I want to change it, and now I want to be in Zero's outfit. I want to be Lelouch.
Yeah,
because like the base for Megan is C2, which I think works, right?
Yeah.
And I just I need to change it from Suzaku to Lelouch as the base, the outfit.
Yeah. Man, there's so many good characters though. I feel there's a lot of good girl characters too, but like then their plot lines end up getting like abruptly stopped a little bit. There's like
For
one
real.
episode where it just kind of like, yep, these characters don't matter anymore. But it's not in a bad way. It's just like it's 24 episodes, so it's like fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. So
I just want to say before we move on from this, I
Yeah.
do want to say thank you because
Yeah.
I'm not good at taking compliments, but I'll just leave it at thank you and also throw it back to you a little bit and just say that
don't cause an earthquake. Don't throw it back.
I just want to say all jokes. I mean, we love to like fuck around. We love to joke around. But having you as like a friend in this community, it's been so like important to us. It means so much to us. And we, love you and what you do and are super down to always come be a part of anything you're ever doing because we see the vision. We see the vision.
Damn, that was. Did you have that? That was kind of.
No.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys so much. Like, for you guys to know, like, they literally invited me over to their place, like, first, like, with the first moment they met me, and I was like, you guys are too kind. I appreciate that so much.
Anytime.
But yeah, and as you guys know, I'm definitely going to be starting up the collabs more often. This is the second coming back. I'm trying to keep that in the books. As far as the computer's not on page just yet. I think I need a cat producer too to really like whip my computer into shape. But yeah, if there's any final things, I guess wait, you guys stream on Thursdays, or are you guys streaming on Thursdays for chapters? What day do you guys stream for chapters?
Well, I mean, because remember, you know how like it kind of got weird. It was the chapters were coming out on Thursdays, so we were streaming on Thursdays, and then they started coming out on Fridays. So like whenever the chapter comes out, usually Thursday or Friday.
Yeah.
So as far as that goes, guys, you guys know from my end too, I switched to Fridays. So I rated you guys one of the time, so I'll probably do that next week or whenever it lines up. Because my streams famously don't have a time limit, and so but I try to keep it brief. I try. For me, it feels brief, but then I look back.
Let me see what brief is for ParVision. Let me look it up. Let me see.
Do this. No, please.
Let's see. Live streams. Okay, the last chapter.
Technically,
that's not bad.
Yeah,
oh damn! No, one of them was 4.5 hours.
Yeah,
this one was almost 5 hours.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. It is what it is, but hopefully more often, because one thing I miss is having discussions about the chapters right after. This is in the break month, but soon enough we'll get a post chapter collab again, whether it's on your channel or mine.
Fuck yeah,
for sure.
But I don't want to hold you guys any longer, and guys, please again go check them out, and don't definitely comment on my channel how much more you want these collabs, because I'll definitely try to emphasize more of these things, but I just don't know but like a lot of people say like, oh, videos, I don't want streams and whatever, but as far as what I listen to, it's like the people that are always in the streams, obviously. So if you guys want more of these, please let me know. And with that, we go into the end of the break month. We're getting a chapter next week, so definitely tune into their stream, tune into mine. I'll probably raid them next week anyways. And thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Volume 1, Josh, Megan, for giving me your time. A lot of laughs, a lot of love, and Trying to
that
think.
pop? What the fuck was that?
Oh, is that?
Oh, that.
Yeah.
Oh, the camera was delayed. So I was like, where did that come from?
Oh, yeah. It was just I've been because my son loves bubbles, so I've been doing that as that's like my filler now. It's like pop, and it's like, yeah. The dad came out.
Dad came out.
Yeah. So but yeah. All right. Let's close out the stream. See you guys next week. Stay healthy. Stay safe. And thank you guys again.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank
Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you for watching.
Oh,
Thank you
so
guys.
much fun.